All right. Welcome to Moor's Heritage and History School. Eyes wide open. This is RVBey, and tonight we have a special guest that's going to be, let me see if they're on so I can intro them yet. Let's see. Hold on a moment, everyone. Has the brother called in yet? And Ada, are you there?
All right.
Yeah.
There's a 916. No, oh wait, I think there he is.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
Hey.
All right. So then, all right. All right. She was looking for another number. You called in on a different number, so that's why we were like, well, he's not there yet. He's not there. All right. So this is RVBey, and tonight we have Brother Hakeem Day. How are you doing tonight?
All is well.
All
Yes,
is
thanks.
well. Well, let me just say this. Many people, I know everyone knows who you are, or most people do. They're probably wondering where you've been, what you've been doing, right? But you've been doing what you always do, especially when it comes to the herbs. One of the things, just for those who don't know, who may be listening, is the Journal of the Moorish Paradigm. Now, you started that back in, you've been in this activity, this Moorish Nation activity, 1983? Did I say that right?
I started 1980 to 1981. That's like the real ground roots of the, when it really took a uptick at that time, was 1980 to 1981. And
All
then
right.
it was just a history from that point on. If you want, I'll continue with it, but that was the very beginning. On an intense level was 1980, 1981. So we're talking about 36, 35, 3.5 decades actually.
Wow. And the Journal of the Moorish Paradigm was really, one of the things is it's history. I mean, it's everything really, because we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. So when we talk, like tonight, I know we're going to talk about moringa, right?
Yeah, moringa and a couple other products and health points.
You're going to talk about that, but it's such an interesting, what I like is that you will give the history of how and why Moors used, certain herbs, and that's just something that people don't know, and it's so interesting to learn those things,
Indeed.
Indeed. Right. And I know that, you had, if you want to, I know right now you're wholebotanicEarth.com, is that it?
Yeah, wholeearthbotanics.com.
Whole Earth, yes.
Botanics.
And you give history on that, too, for each herb.
Yeah. I give like a breakdown of, a little background of the particular plant or spice. Remember the spice trade of the Moors, and it was a reason for that spice trade, because the spice wasn't just a condiment to flavor your food; it was also for healing. Like for instance, moringa in the Ayurvedic science, ancient Ayurvedic science, is said to cure over 500 different ailments or diseases.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very, very powerful. The moringa. First, let me just say, the moringa is the most nutritious plant ever found on Earth. The moringa plant has 12 species, and those who's familiar with the Bible remember how it talks about the New Jerusalem and how it had a tree bearing fruit, 12 manner of fruits. And so the moringa tree has 12 major species of the moringa plant. 9 of those 12 is found in Africa and no place else. Wow. And this plant was very, very powerful. It was considered almost like it was treasured. It was buried with the pharaohs. It was buried with the nobles. As a matter of fact, on the website I had And in the book, I had a picture of the pharaoh, of one of the nobles who they found. I think it was 2 quarts of moringa oil. The Moors also used the moringa oil as well. They used it in the common practice. We use it in our lamps because the moringa oil is so fine, it produces almost like a smokeless flame. And so that's why we use it in the Moorish lamps and stuff like that you see everywhere. You know, that's why you didn't see all that soot and Moors having lungs problems and all the stuff like that, because it hardly produces smoke. It's so fine. They use the moringa oil in fine watch parts. That's how fine it is. Imagine using it in a watch. You can't use no Crisco. You can't use no Crisco in a watch. It's too thick. It'll just seize up. Yeah.
So is moringa something that was also smoked in the pipe?
Moringa, like every tree, every part of the moringa tree has its use and have its purpose. You know, it produces like a pod, almost look like a big string bean. You know, big pod that you could just steam and eat it like, you know, like a regular string bean. You know, you got the bark, you got the root. There's one moringa species in Africa. It's like a bottle tree. It's shaped like a bottle, boulders out at the bottom, and it stores water.
Wow.
You know, it's truly a tree of life. You can literally survive off moringa leaf powder and water like indefinitely.
So is that true then when Moors were doing their traveling on the seas and long travels, that's why they had, I guess, all manners of the moringa plant with them?
That's right. Facts. They had, as a matter of fact, it was so powerful that the Moors, the Cushites, you know, going back into the teachings of Prophet Noble Ali, where divided the land amongst us. Cush took everything from Ethiopia, which is a demarcation line. Cush took everything from Ethiopia going east, and Ham took everything. His father took everything from Ethiopia going west. That's where you get the domains of Amexem, Amexem. That's our inheritance from Ethiopia going west. And so the Cushites, you know, they was known as warriors. That's where you get Nimrod. Nimrod was the son of Cush. These were world leaders. Even the Jews in their legends referred to. They said, our Messiah, when he comes, he's going to rule the world like Nimrod did after the flood. When they talk about one world order or something like that, the first ruler of a one world order was Nimrod, son of Cush. And he was very powerful. There's a reason why he was very powerful. But the Cushites were known to send moringa to the front lines. When they battled wars, they sent the moringa to the front lines to give the men stamina and endurance in the war.
Wow.
This ain't no joke. This is real. This is documented. This is one of the most studied plants in the world. I also have the in the book I mentioned the what is it? You know, all the different folklore that grew around moringa also, because one of the names in West Africa, Senegal, is Never Die, which stands for Never Die. Never die.
Wow.
You know, if you don't put moringa into your body, it's like you're doing your body a disservice, because it was put here for a reason. In the book, I show a map, and the map marks off all the regions of the world where starvation is an issue. I found another map of all the places where moringa grows wild, and when I superimpose the map, they match. All these places where people are starving, the moringa is growing there wild.
Wow.
So it's like any ailment we ever suffer from, the cure is always right there. It's always right around us. That's why I study the plants, and I study the ecosystem around me. Not just the plants, because the ecosystem involves the insects, it involves the seasons, it involves geology, it involves all those different things. And we have to we supposed to master that, because we're the trustees of this planet. This is a trust, and we are both trustees and beneficiaries of this trust.
Wow, I'm glad to say that.
We look for the benefits, but we don't look to do the duties of the trustee. The duties of the trustee on this planet is to know where you at, wherever you live at. You're supposed to know what's growing around there. You're supposed to understand the seasons, the insects, all these things, because you're the trustee of that portion of the trust res. And if everybody do their duty, it's done.
Yes,
But the
indeed.
moringa is very important to get those phytonutrients. Those nutrients produced as a result of the interaction with the sun. And when you take into moringa, the first thing that happens, like the way I got involved with it, it was an African sister, and I had met her because she needed a website done. And then, to make a long story short, going up there speaking with her, come to find out that she really needed somebody to manage, like a manager, what she was doing. So I came on as the manager, and so naturally, up until that time, I heard, when I first heard the word moringa, it just rung a bell, but I didn't know from where. So I'm working there, and I said, all right, since I'm working here, I got to take the product. I got to test it out. So I'm making the moringa tea, and I got the leaf powder and everything. And up until that time, I had lifting weights. I had torn the cartilage in my shoulder, and so I was in pain. Even that time, Roz, when we was in Philly, I was in pain. Y'all didn't know it. I was in pain. I tore it. Literally, when I was lifting weights, I was hearing something tear like somebody was ripping paper, literally. And I was like, I know that's not my arm. You know what I'm saying? And because I didn't proper stretch before working out, so I was literally tearing myself up. I didn't realize it until next time I got a big bump on like a bulge on the top of my shoulders, on each shoulder. I was like, wow. I thought it was because I carried a shoulder bag. It was because I literally tore up all that cartilage or all that stuff like that. So I was in pain. I tried Amexem, chondroitin, all that stuff. None of that stuff worked, right? And I took the moringa for 3 weeks, and I wasn't even thinking about my shoulder or whatever. Next thing I know, after just 3 weeks of taking the moringa, I had no pain. I said,
wow.
Wait a minute, I don't know that. And I swung my arms 360 degrees, no pain. You talk about healing from injuries and this and that. That's why we're trying to get into these different spas and stuff like that, because you will rapidly heal, because moringa has so much nutrients in it that it literally, once you take it into your body, it fills you out. It fills what you lacking, and it fills in that space.
Wow.
And so you're gonna feel a feeling of contentment. Like the first 3 weeks I was taking, I just felt this contentment, like I was complete, like I wasn't lacking anything.
Right.
That's the moringa. That's that moringa. I'm telling you, that moringa is no kind of joke. The World Health is so non-toxic. People worry about, like, can I take too much of it or whatever? Let's put it this way. The World Health Organization feeds starving children up to 6 tablespoons of that per day. And they thrive. It's one of the best kept secrets. Even I forgot his name from Atlanta, who was I think he was a congressman down Bond, Julian Bond. He planted a whole moringa garden down there in Atlanta. People don't even know about that.
Well, let me ask you this: what does it take? Does it take a lot to grow a moringa garden? I mean, sun.
That's the beautiful thing about moringa. I could take the moringa seed, put it into the ground. 2 years later, you got a 20, 25-foot tree.
Wow.
That's how fast it grows. I'm telling you, this is a crazy plant. This plant, there was a doctor who thought that it didn't even come from this planet. because it's able to grow and all stuff without the sun. It could go through droughts. The planet's like a survivor. It could go through a drought where other plants would die. It just continues going on because it's down into the earth. And so it can survive droughts and everything. You could grow right in your house, right in the Northeast. But what you have to do, it can survive a frost, but it can't survive a winter. So what you do is plant it in big, gigantic pots. And in the winter time, before the freeze, you bring it indoors.
All right. Yeah.
And then what you do is that you prune it in such a way that instead of it growing tall and slender, it grows short and bushy. So you could just pick everything right there. As you harvest it, you take it.
Right.
As you prune it, you see what I'm saying? Yes.
Yeah. Now, let's say this because it has come as something that people are being conscious of, but at the same time, you have to be real careful. What would people have to be careful of in terms of? I know that you have it availed and it's strong because I just ordered it and I've only been taking it for like a week, and just and I got the capsule, right? and it's so strong. As soon as I take it out, I can smell it. You know what I'm saying? It's very strong, but it's not distasteful or anything. But what should people be careful of with others infiltrating that particular moringa just because it's popular? Because, you know, a lot of corporations, they do that. You know
like
what I mean?
shea butter and all that, you know, just blew up big time. It's in Macy's and all this crazy stuff like that. Yeah, but main thing you have to look in terms of your own protection is like you notice on the site, for each one of them I put there, FDA certified and made in a GMP, good manufacturing practice, because you don't want it to get contaminated. You want it to be processed properly. In other words, the leaves are dried out and then it's transferred into the capsule form, or you know, or the powder or whatever. I tend to like the capsule because I'm on, you know, I'm traveling, I'm on the road and stuff like that. And you know, a lot of times I don't have time to make you know, smoothies and all that stuff like that. The capsules are the best bet if you're on the go. And you can still get, like, for instance, like with the turmeric. Like, remember I mentioned to you before, I'm just set notes or whatever, just to show, like, you know, the ones who I use that use to process this, you know, all that stuff meets all the standards, so you don't have to worry about contamination from this and contamination from that, because there's all kinds of things out here, microbes and stuff, and if it's not, you know, you run that risk. Now, with the turmeric, everybody heard, right, and they know turmeric is good, but what people don't understand is that you have turmeric, the root. It looks like ginger root or whatever, yellowish inside or whatever. The root, the main active ingredient that produces all the beneficial effects is called curcumin. Curcumin by weight. If you take a chunk of turmeric root or even just turmeric powder, by weight, only maybe 2 to 3% is actually curcumin. The rest is just a fibrous substance or whatever. But so in other words, if you had a big tablespoon of moringa powder, of that moringa powder, only 2 to 3% of it is actually curcumin. The rest is just, you know, whatever. All right, so now what we have is that we have the 100% turmeric curcumin extract. So that is 100% curcumin and is mixed with what's called bioperine, pepperine, which is basically black pepper. And that serves as a catalyst. That makes the turmeric work quicker and more effective. Yeah. So I use the pepperine, the bioperine that's in the turmeric. When I take my turmeric capsules, I'm taking my moringa, everything with it, and it acts as a catalyst of everything that's with it.
All right, because you know, and because turmeric needs to have a catalyst, which, like you said, is pepper. But you said that it's called actually
bioperine or pepperine
to activate.
That's what they call it in practice. Right. That's a really kicks it off. And like I said, the pepperine, just like cayenne pepper or whatever, it stimulates and activates and acts as a catalyst for anything, not just the turmeric that is in the capsule with, but by taking the moringa, and I take another capsule called chromate. It contains chromium. A lot of people with chromium and these transition metals, they call transition metals, gold. You hear a lot about gold and silver. So these are called transition metals. If you look at the periodic table in chemistry, you have elements on one side, elements on the other side, and in between them are these transition metals. So they serve like a bridge between one side of the periodic table and the other side. And so this is why ingesting the chromium is very, very important. If you don't have enough chromium, you may suffer from diabetes, you know, and different types of what they call metabolism or metabolic. These things are very important. So that's why I take the chromium to get that in there. And the chromium is also combined with some other things. So I take it all together. So this way the bioperine will work on all of those things together.
What about magnesium? I'm only asking you about it because I was told that that's something that reduces stress. Is that something that in fact,
magnesium, manganese. Because sometimes people confuse magnesium and manganese. You need both. You know what I'm saying? But you know they contain the different things. You know, leafy lean vegetables, lettuce. Regular just iceberg lettuce contain magnesium. They
Really?
regular sources of magnesium. Yeah, and what I'm in the process of doing now, I have a whole line of products that's gonna be coming out. Fire the Body, like this other one I'm coming out with called Full Body Detox, and it detox everything. It even has black walnut in it to detox from worms and parasites. A lot of people, so many people just suffering from worms and parasites like that. Black walnut is one of the best things for getting rid of that. All right. Also, I'm gonna recommend to everyone. I drink this every morning and night. Apple cider vinegar.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And eat it
I put water in there and I put raw honey. And then you can also add. I also add a lot of times ginger extract from the ginger root. I add that to that. You drink that every morning. First of all, the apple cider vinegar it's gonna, so it has live enzymes. It's gonna put your whole digestive flora, your whole ecology within your gut is gonna put it in order. It's gonna get rid of the bad, and it's gonna strengthen up the good bacteria. It brings it into like a perfect balance. So that's very important. So many people is suffering all kinds of things and don't realize that their whole gut ecology is thrown off by the different foods they eat, which promote the bad over the good. So these are different things.
No, I'm saying you just said a key thing about from the foods that we eat.
Yeah.
The foods that we eat. That's really, and that brings me to, well, I don't know. I'm just asking a few questions, and then, you may want to share some other things that you have in mind. But we had talked about, and I thought it was very interesting, about mullein and how we smoke,
Yeah,
mullein. We never had long term.
Yeah. The ancestors used to smoke, like we used to produce these different mixtures that we used to smoke out of clay pipes and stuff. They found like them by the thousands and the mounds and stuff like that. And back then, when our ancestors, when they smoked what's referred to today as cannabis or marijuana or whatever, they called it, the elders in the South, they called it rabbit tobacco. That's how they referred to it, rabbit tobacco. And they would mix it with the mullein leaf to eliminate any of the bad lung aspects of the herb. They would mix it with, they would just take the big fat mullein leaf. It's all velvety. It looked like a big elephant head. It's a big, sometimes I used to grab a big piece and just dry it out, and then you just powder it with your finger. And if the person has bronchitis or any type of ailment, you just make them smoke the leaves, dry it out straight up.
So mullein keeps the lungs clean, and that's why we never had any lung problems. And also they would put the mullein in their pipe if they were smoking marijuana for that same reason, to make sure that didn't happen. And you also shared another story with me that I thought it was interesting in reference to when they would go to hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the custom of the Moors that after they serve a big banquet, they would serve what's called keef, K-I-F, which is really like the flower from the cannabis plant. And so it's like fluffy. Like they would come out with a big tray, like how they would stack up couscous. They would come out with that stacked up. The reason why I put all that stuff there is that you hear all the stuff about legalization of this and that stuff. That's all that's been part of our ancestors and their traditions and part of their way of life forever. You know what I'm saying? So, that's something that religious or divine side, because on that side it's protected. It can't be molested by anything coming from the national, coming from the government. If you properly place it there, it's part of your traditions that they can't touch.
Religious freedoms and culture.
Religious freedoms and all that stuff like that. I mean, how you going to legislate a plant anyway? We all know that the only reason why they made marijuana illegal was because of the budding nylon industry at that time. The nylon industry couldn't even compete with hemp. Because going back from old times, you had the ropes of the ships was made from hemp. George Washington, Thomas, all of them grew hemp. Doctors even prescribed marijuana up until 38, up until that time when they said, all right, we're going to destroy the hemp industry by demonizing it through marijuana. Reefer madness, and that's how they actually legislated Now, you go into a court and it says, "In God we trust," and they enter the Bible. When you look in the Bible in Genesis, the very first gift ever given to the divine to man was every herb yielding seed. So how could they make it illegal? I'm talking about literally the very first gift stated in Genesis that the divine gave to man. Go and read it. Was every herb yielding seed for you that shall be food.
Exactly.
And they're going to turn around and make it illegal and locking up all these young brothers and sisters over that and ruin their whole, ruin everything. Once they get arrested with that, forget it, they have trouble getting jobs.
It's an open door. It's a revolving door that they got on that.
They got them in the system. They got them
in their system. The prophet, and it's because of the lack of knowledge of who we are, and that's why the prophet said, declare your nationality and your religion, because that's the divine side. And so then under religion comes, of course, this is your own medicine. This is a natural thing, and like you said, how can you?
Did? They said let's criminalize every aspect of their culture, and that's how we will get our so-called criminal justice system to rule over them. That's what they did with the Ben Ishmael. That's what they did with the Moors up in, when you read ancient modern Britain, up in that area. Because remember, they practiced that on different tribes, and then they spread it abroad. Hitler said that when he put together the genocide, plan that they used on the Jews, they studied what they did to the Ben Ishmael here. That's where they got it from. People don't realize it was the Ben Ishmael. It was the so-called Ben Ishmael, and people don't know too much about them. But even like, remember Orphan Annie in the cartoons? She was Ben Ishmael. Lincoln was Ben Ishmael. That's where you see them got all these pictures of them showing him with Moorish costume and all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of confusion with the Ben Ishmael. Here's the Ben Ishmael, a group of tribes that was invited by the brothers and sisters in the Midwest said, "Come out here since y'all catching so much hell on the East Coast." They set up a migration pattern. Now, if these were so-called Indians, quote-unquote Indians, why would they set up a migration pattern set up like a triangle with the points going from Morocco to Muhammad to Mecca? And they're Indian?
Right,
There's a lot of confusion with that. And then when they got up into Indiana, Illinois, Chicago, Detroit, stuff like that, some of them became some of the original members of the Moor Science Temple. So the whole history, there's so much history that's just been cut out. That's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that.
But that's why, exactly. But that's why we have to, tell our own history and our own story and know it and live it and be it.
Exactly. Yeah. That was my desire in this life, was to prove those so-called social studies teachers that I had in junior high school and stuff, prove them wrong. And I knew he was greater than what they was teaching when I was in junior high school. And I had this teacher named Mr. Lazarus, and he, this is world history, so they make every culture sound all good, and then they make us sound like we was just some trees somewhere going unga bunga. I was pissed. I was pissed. I knew he was greater than that, and while he was teaching that, these Europeans was making fun, going, bunga bunga, all stuff like that. I used to whip their behind every class. Every class. And I didn't have the research to fight them with. So I should just tell them, I said, yo, in class they was making fun, I should say when the bell rings. I said, when the bell rings, you're going to get it. And 5 minutes before the bell rings, they was like begging me, no, we was just talking about it. I used to line them kids up.
You were a defender of the creed, huh? You were a defender of the creed. You were a natural defender of the creed.
But check it. Check out how the divine worked. So then I started teaching. I used to teach in the Board of Education in New York. Guess what school they signed me to? The same junior high school. When I get there, guess what what teacher's still there?
Oh, my goodness.
About Mr. Lazarus. So check this out. I didn't even have to confront him. I was teaching so hot and heavy, the brothers and sisters from the community, they confronted him and was like, the Egyptians was this and that. I mean, they they got in on him, and one of the teachers overheard him in the teachers' lounge say, "That Mr. Bey, he's turning all the students against us." So I got him back, but I didn't even have to do it. I let the students do it.
Right, that's divine.
So divine law governs all. I stayed determined. I had to fast in. See, at that time, when he was teaching, and I was in 8th grade, I just knew we were greater, but I didn't have nothing to back it up.
Right.
So between that time and the times I wrote the 13 Journal of the Moorish Paradigm books, that was hours of research.
Wow.
So I wasn't trying to hit. When I was in college, the professors knew me. They knew that one time I took up anthropology, and one of the professors tried to say the Egyptians were dark-skinned Caucasian. I said, what? Me and this black girl, we was like, what? That's like telling me you got a black-white car, either it's black or white. I said, how come the same people who in slavery times would have been considered a slave, now all of a sudden when we look into who's the founders of civilization, they become dark-skinned Caucasian? This is the game, you know what I'm saying? So the next day he comes to class, and he goes, he's reviewing that same paragraph, he's reading from the book, and then he goes, when he gets to that part, he goes, the Caucasians are, and then he looks up at me and the sister, he goes, so-called dark-skinned Caucasians, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
They tried to play that game in college, but we was of that generation coming up from Generation X. We was like, we wasn't trying to hit, and we let them know. We didn't just sit there silently, accepting what they were saying.
Right, that's right.
We let them know. And people's like, Hakeem, they're gonna fail you. It was absolute reverse. They used to put that same one who said dark-skinned Caucasians. One day he put me outside the classroom while the class was there, and I thought maybe he might try to say something about that or whatever. He said, Mr. Bey, he said, I want to give you an A+, but I'm only allowed to get A's. Is that all right with you? That's what the professor said.
Wow.
Allah hear me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The highest self hear me. What I'm saying is true. He actually asked me. He said we only give A's now because of some new policy they passed or whatever. Is that all right? So
wow.
So improving brothers sisters, it was all scared. One time I had a Spanish teacher, and she said the Phoenicians were white. I said, huh? What? I said, I let her have it. And then all the brothers and sisters who were students in the class, they was like, what's that you was talking about? What book? So the next day I came to class with a whole suitcase full of books. And they all the students gathered around me. I broke it down to them, right? I didn't say a word to the teacher, the Spanish teacher, right? So then after all the students, built it out, brought up, and I was just there trying to pack up all my stuff. The teacher goes, what about me? I thought you brought that stuff for me. Then I was concerned with them knowing. I wasn't so much concerned with her, whatever, secondary. You know what I'm saying? So then I went sat down with her and showed her all the history books and everything. And she just sat there and she said, you know what? She said, I'm about to retire anyway. She said, I got to rethink my whole history. That's what she told me. I said, that history you talking about? I said, that come out the late 1900s and stuff like that when it was trying to push us whole white supremacy. I let her know. Like that old motor stuff, like I said in the lessons, can the double fool a Muslim? No, not nowadays.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Not nowadays.
So that was the reconstructing and the reconstructed history that they were trying to put out.
Right. And just researching that just led me to all kinds of, it just led me into, studying about the herbs, the plants. I used to go out there, Baba Rashan from Sundar Products, he used to take me out on the nature walk, like a group and, show us all the different plants. And I used to love him because he taught us how to actually go up to the plant and communicate with the plants, how we used to do it.
Talk about
it,
yeah.
And like if I needed the leaf from that plant, I was taught to go up to that plant. That's why I consider him like a Baba, like a shaman. taught how to go up to the plant, stroke the leaves of the plant, and tell the plant what I need it for. The plant is going to feel you out and feel what disease you may have and give you the chemicals that you need in the proportions that you need it in.
Heavy. All living things are connected to every other living thing.
It's all connected. That's how I work. Well, I used to take my children out there to the woods and teach them about, because every time I learned about plants, I took them out there right afterwards and showed them the same plants. That helped me retain it. And when I took them out there, I said, I showed them the woods. I said, you see those woods? That's our Rite Aid. That's our pharmacy. Forget that Rite Aid pharmaceutical industry stuff. That's our Rite Aid. And back in the days when we had our own land, we knew if this child had a headache, we told our child, go down this path right here, and you're going to see such and such elm tree. Get some of that bark and bring it back to me. So the trees came up with your family on your land. The trees knew if I sustain them, they're going to sustain me.
Right.
It was a whole different type of relationship. You see what I'm saying? There's just so many things, Down the line, I mean, there's a lot of things I want to speak on. A lot of things were shown to me. I'm out here now the last couple of years, since 2014. I've been on, this is my fourth vision quest. Which, just the fourth one. These vision quests took me all across the country, to all the sacred sites. So right now I'm in Arizona. They took me to Sedona, took me to Lake Superior, all the way up in Minnesota, all the way down to Louisiana. I did this. I agreed to do this in order to receive divine revelation. Divine revelation just don't come like that. You got to sacrifice. You got to commit. You got to show and prove that you're worthy to receive. And that's exactly what I did. The divine said, I want you to pack up all your stuff, and I want you to go on a vision quest of places that I will show you, and I will reveal things to you there. You got to get there. And so I heard and obeyed since 2007. You remember when we was there in Philly. From that time, that was the first vision quest in 2007. And then from that time, I went, this is right now, I'm still on the fourth vision quest. It's not over yet. And I've been doing this since 2014. This is real.
The one you're on now, yeah.
The one I'm on now. This is my graduation vision quest. But I didn't think it was going to take that long. I thought it was going to be 3 months like the other one, like 90 days, 3 months, whatever. I've been on this since 2014.
Wow, and you're out in right now, like in Arizona.
Sedona Desert, Sedona. Now I know why I'm here. I know why I'm here, why I came here, why I was supposed to come here, why I had to go up to Flagstaff. I found out in Flagstaff, Arizona, why. What I'm doing is come from the year Phoenix cycle of Estevanico, the Moor. Estevanico, from way back when, 500 years ago, came right where I'm at right now.
Oh, you know what? When I went to the one of the museums at Washington, D.C., Estevanico came up, yes.
That's Estevanico. It would stand for Little Stephen. They said he was from Azamor, Morocco. And he led that whole expedition all the way from the east, all the way out here to the west. And he knew the languages of the tribes. How he's coming from Azamor, Morocco, whatever, Morocco on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, come here, know his way around, know these different languages, it don't make sense. That means the Moors was here and well familiar with every inch over here. And then in the legend, it said that he came up through this way because I spent time in this visit quest in the Sedona Desert. I mean, literally camped out in the Sedona Desert with coyotes around me, all that stuff. I mean, it was almost like I was thrust into a whole other planet. I never seen. It says everything out here is spiky. Got spikes and needles. Everything. And the animals is I had to learn a whole other world. I was used to the northeast ecosystem. When I came out here, I had to learn this. Out here they don't have big. I didn't run to bears and Sedona Desert and stuff like that. It's the little things that get you: centipedes, scorpions, tarantulas. Those little things. I had to be. Just instinct told me, Hakeem, from day one, while you out here in the Sedona Desert, don't leave anything open. Close and seal up everything, because that's when you get hit. That's when you get stung by a scorpion, whatever. it done crawled in your bag, and you go reach in your bag, that's when you get hit. You just out here walking through the bush or whatever. It's not like they hiding out. Rattlesnakes and stuff is hiding out. I seen rattlesnakes, but it's not like they in the bush just hiding out like, I can't wait to kill a human. You know what I'm saying? They going about their business. You know what I'm saying? If you disturb them, the way most people get hit is they reaching into something for something, and something done crawled in there. Scorpion, like one lady, scorpion was in her sink in the drain, and the knife fell in there. She went to go reach for the knife, and the scorpion hit her, stung her, and she thought she just hit the point of the knife. So she put her hand to reach it again the second time, and the scorpion hit her again. It knocked her back into the wall. Wow. And this guy, I know, it was his grandmother. You know, so with these things, you just got to be careful. So anyway, I learned, you know, I'm still learning the ecosystem out here. You know, initially for me it was just survival. You know, I was exposed to animals. You know, coyotes freak me out. Because every night I would make a campfire, and I would stay by that campfire all night till the fire went out, till the last sparkle went out, and then I would just close my eyes and just sit there in the middle of the desert and just feel my spirit just spread out through the whole desert, so that if there was a spider like a mile away, I could feel it.
Gotcha. Yeah. You're in tune.
And then I would hear the coyotes. The coyotes used to freak me out because at first, like coyotes, they actually sound like human. They can make themselves sound like human. I would hear this noise. I thought it was a group of like campers partying. They sound like a group of party goers. So every night, I thought it was just campers like joking around, going and laughing and joking around and stuff like that. I would hear this night after night. And so I said, wait a minute, this can't be the same campers every night. Those were coyotes. Coyotes. And I used to hear a coyote in the east, a group of coyotes in the west, a group in the north, south. Where I was camping at, I would be literally surrounded by coyotes. You know, but I knew as long as I had the fire and I had my machete, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Put my back up against a tree, and I'm slashing everything that comes towards me. You know what I'm saying? So I was just good. You know what I'm saying? But it was an experience because it's just me. There was nobody else there. It was just me. Anything could have happened. You know what I'm saying? I've seen all kind of crazy stuff. They have these things out there. You would think they was pigs, like wild boars. They call them javelinas. But they're actually very large rodents. One time I was hit one. I'm driving, and there's a couple of them right in the middle of the highway. They look like barrels. They look like garbage cans, like turned on the side. They big and thick. You know, people tell me how they bit their dog, all kind of crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was on the lookout for them. I had to be careful how I ate around the campsite because every night I heard them. Once I went to sleep, I'm hearing all the tracks. I'm hearing them out there looking for food. Right. So I know they're out there. I didn't even look. I just knew they was out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it was, you know. But the thing I'm stressing is that, you know, and I learned that we have to get back in tune with nature because our spirituality and our health is nature-based. And so as long as we cut off from nature, we're going to suffer a lot of things. You know, sometimes those who listen, when you get a chance, you know, I used to go always to Central Park, Botanical Gardens. Up in the Bronx, you have Orchard Beach and Pelham Bay Park, which is the largest wooded zone in New York City, even larger than Central Park. And so it was just virgin woods. So I used to just go out there and take off my shoes, sometimes put my feet in the dirt and the soil, put it inside the water, and just recalibrate. Just get back in tune with the earth. People are stressed out here, and they don't know why. And they just caught up in a rut. They can't, you know, I stepped out from it, the forest, so I could see the trees. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you got to step out of a situation to see it. Now I see it clearly. But sometimes when you're in the midst of it, you can't see it because you in the mix. You know? And so that's why our people, too, we got to meditate. Just, you know, one of the last points is I'll take some questions or whatever you want. But meditation, supposed to meditate at least once a day. At least once a day. And that's leading to a whole other thing. See, my philosophy, the first protocol, health is the mind. The herbs and spices and stuff, that comes second. Believe it or not.
Man is mind.
The first protocol is the mind. Once you get that straight, see, the world is what you make of it. We live in an assimilation, and the operating system of this simulation is called Sophia. Which means divine wisdom. That just means divine wisdom. Sometimes they call it Shekinah, spouse of God, or whatever, different names like this or whatever.
That's where philosophy comes from.
Right, Philo, Sophia, philosophy. Philo meaning lover of, and Sophia meaning wisdom.
Love of wisdom.
It was Sophia who guided me on these vision quests. All this is Sophia. Sophia said that she was going to teach me, but I had to show and prove. I had to go on these vision quests. And she said, if you do it, I got something for you. And each time, each vision quest was something different. The third vision quest is what led to the second vision quest is what led to the writing of the book Secret of Secrets. Any of those who's interested in the part that I was talking about dealing with the mind and stuff like that, I wrote a book on that called Secret of Secrets, which you can get for free. You just go to secretofsecrets.info, and you could download that book free. And I think there's a video on there, too, dealing with the launch of Secret of Secrets in 2011. That's when the second vision quest was. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised of the power you have with your own mind to heal your body. But first, you got to tune in. Akalia, I created a system called Akalia, which has 8 components. One of the components is called meditation. And so I'm recommending to everybody to meditate. Why? Because we exist in 4 main brain states. Right now, most of you listen to this, who's up right now, you in what they call beta vibration. All right? Which is generally 8 to 12 hertz. When you begin to meditate, daydream, or drift off to sleep, you enter into alpha, which is approximately 8 hertz to 12 hertz. Then once you start to drift off to sleep, and you enter in that first stage of light sleep, that's theta, 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 vibration 4 to 8 hertz. And then when you get into deep sleep, that's called delta. When you go into deep sleep, your physical body, which in Akalia system, we refer to your physical body as your avatar. Your physical body is your avatar in this simulation so that you can navigate and operate and do things. When this physical body, this avatar enters into delta, it goes into standby mode or hibernation mode, just like a laptop goes into standby. The same thing happens with this body. And your spirit, your conscious returns back to the source.
Your spirit,
and then when you wake up, your spirit, your consciousness, your awareness, it goes to the source. When your body's in delta, you go to the source.
Wow.
That's why sometimes it's hard to wake somebody up who's in deep delta sleep or whatever. And then the return journey is when you leave the source, you come up through delta, then you come up through theta, and then as you come from theta into alpha, that's when you start to dream. What's the purpose of dreaming? To help. That's the process of you re-entering into your body.
Wow.
That's why it's never good to wake up children suddenly, because their whole day is going to be thrown off. You ever woke up suddenly, like something jarred you up, woke you up or whatever, and then like your whole day is off?
Yes.
Because you didn't come correct. The best thing you could have did was go back to sleep and come correct. Come back up through theta and alpha, stuff like that, and come correct. When you just wake up suddenly like that, you didn't fully insert yourself into all the points, all the cells, all the nucleus. And so your whole day is going to be off. It's going to be off. See, these are things that were shown to me during the vision quest, dealing with not just foods or so-called diet, but dealing with the mind and the so-called limbic system. I'm just going to throw this question out. How many of y'all out there ever heard or was ever taught anything about the limbic system that exists within you? The limbic system. Some people say, I heard that word before, but I don't even know what it is. The limbic system is dealing with your limbs, your arms, your legs, or whatever. The limbic system, put it this way, that's the seat of your higher self and your lower self. It's like a ladder. The bottom of the ladder is your lower self, and the top of the ladder is your higher self. And there's all kinds of stuff in between. So I would definitely like to speak about that one day. It's the limbic system. If people only knew, they only knew what's inside of them. This technology that we call a body, that we call avatar. If people only knew, they think the brain. Most people just think the brain is some homogeneous blob. The brain is many, many different modules of technology. Different modules with different purposes. You got antennas in there, all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get it. Hopefully, we'll get into it one day.
Well, let me just cap up on this because I'm finding this interesting. So the beta is where we are now, sort of awake, not sleep, not sleepy or whatever. And what did you say the hertz on that
meditation. That was approximately a beta 8 to 12 hertz.
8 to 12.
Below that is it's the alpha. When they when they meditate, they're giving off alpha. When you meditate, you're in alpha state.
Okay, so and those hertz are.
What's that?
What's the hertz on the alpha?
The alpha is 8 to 12 hertz. That's why a lot of my meditations is either 8 or 10 hertz. Like what I do is I use nature sounds. I produce myself ambient music, and I combine it with the brainwave pulses. I use square brainwave pulses at 8 hertz or 10 hertz. 8 hertz is the Schumann resonance, is the old vibration to Earth itself. The so-called Schumann resonance or Tesla resonance is 8 hertz. So when you vibrate to that, you merging and vibrating in resonance with the Earth itself. Crazy things happen when I used to do that. Also, 10 hertz also. When I used to do the meditation, 10 hertz too, the minds combine. Like if you have a group of people and we all listening to the same meditation with the same hertz at the same time, what happens is that the minds meld and they become one. There was incidents like where I'm in my house, but somewhere in a whole other state, they're describing what I'm looking at with my eyes as if they her eyes.
Wow, that's the presence of the brain for sure. Yeah.
That's the master.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. That's why if we all would recognize we're family and we're tied to the earth and nature, we would all be in the same place. Know what we have to do.
We actually already are, but just don't know it. There's two brains. We have two brains. We have two different minds. We have two different computers in us. One I call the binary computer, which is like the binary computer we use now, laptops, stuff like that. Binary. And then inside of it, we also have a quantum computer. We got two. They call it the subconscious mind. The conscious ego mind functions like a binary computer. The subconscious is oftentimes considered masculine. The subconscious mind is feminine, and that's the quantum computer. And the way you connect with that is through Sophia. Sophia has control over that whole bit. I call that quantum computer Sophia. And so we have these two different minds in us. This society that we in now is more geared toward or concentrated towards the masculine side, the conscious ego mind. All right, but you have in the quantum. I'll give you an example. If I have a page with 100 equations on it to be solved, and I show that to the binary computer it'll solve all of them, but it got to solve them sequentially, one at a time. If I take that same 100 problems and show it to the subconscious mind, it would immediately just flash and solve all of them simultaneously at the same time.
You know what you reminded me of? The movie Lucy, where the woman, remember, did you see that? Yeah, there it is. There it is. Well,
all these movies are coming out.
Yes.
Even the most recent one called The Arrival. It has science in there because in the science of Alkalia, I teach the use of sigils. One of the components is called sigilization, or the creation or the production of sigils.
Sigils. SIGYL for those who, yes, go ahead.
SIGIL.
Oh, you're right. Oh, sometimes I've seen it with the Y.
These sigils are like, for instance, like, put it this way. For the subconscious mind, these sigils are like machine code language. He'd understand it immediately. Like the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A sigil is worth infinite words. I'll give you another example. Those of you, if you go to the website secrets.info, you're going to see on the book cover, and then you see different places on the website, a sigil. That sigil, that's one of the universal sigils. Whenever you have a universal sigil, if I took every book ever written by man on this planet, I could condense it down into that one sigil. That's why I say a sigil is worth infinite words, and this is how you program dissimulation. In ancient times, we had different sigils, and hey, they call them RVBey, whatever the case may be. These are things that allow you to embed whatever you want to embed into it. Be actually, like, we consider a sigil as a program, like writing a program. Once you write it, and you put it out there, the universe or Sophia, the operating system, she has to execute it. Execute that program, run that program. These are powers that we have, but we became so dependent on money and this and that as an intermediary that we gave up those powers. In other words, we didn't have to go to the store and buy food, clothing, and shelter. All we had to do was use our mind. But if you depend on that money to get those things, then guess what? You forfeit or you deactivate those circuits that deal with that. I'm going to give you an example of how our powers are deactivated by the society that we live in. Take reading, for example. Reading, the subconscious mind way of reading is you could take a deck of cards and the subconscious mind will know every card in the right order that is in. That's how the subconscious mind works. It's quantum. I could take a book and turn the page as fast as I can. If you taught how to look properly, because your eyes are like scanners, everything's like a computer. The eyes are like scanners. If you taught how to hold the eyes properly, to absorb the information properly, there's no limit to reading. The limit to reading will be how quickly you could turn that page. Now, I don't know if you ever try to turn pages fast, but it's hard to really turn pages too fast. But there's no limit. You could take the book and the subconscious mind memorizes every single page, every word on every page. It's there. It's in memory. It's all a matter of how you access it.
Is that also the part where you can put a book under your pillow and do the same thing if you really wanted to?
All these things are, put it this way, when I was teaching alchemy, I told us, there's nothing that we can't do. The only thing that stops us from anything is our own doubt and disbelief programs. That's what stops us. I could go on top of this roof right now and jump off the top of this roof to another state. I could do that. The only thing stopping me, right, that's what I'm saying, the only thing stopping me is my own doubt and disbelief. That's the only thing that stops us. That's why the school system, that's why it is the way it is.
Man is mine.
Exactly. We've been disabled.
Now, again, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Which one is the dream state? Alpha?
Alpha, see, the beautiful thing about alpha, you ever been in one of those hotel rooms that has two rooms that's adjoined by a door in the middle?
Yes.
All right, so one room is like the theta, where you basically, for adults, that's basically sleep. The other room is beta, where you're not really, connected to the subconscious mind, which is in theta. Alpha is that door right in between. In terms of the brain hemispheres, you got two hemispheres in the brain, right hemisphere, left brain hemisphere, and it's joined by a cable called the corpus callosum. Cable, Ethernet cable, whatever. That's the alpha. To activate that cable is the alpha state, because the alpha state you have access to the quantum and the binary computer simultaneously because you're not asleep. You in a very relaxed state. This is the alpha.
Right.
In the meditation, you're in a very relaxed state, but you're not asleep. You're alert. And so here's where you can catch it. Here's where the quantum computer is going to speak to you. It's going to show you symbols. It's going to show you things. And the main thing is to consciously register it because you're not asleep. If you go into theta, you're going to fall asleep. Like a lot of times students, they meditate towards the end, they'll drift down into theta if it's late at night. They don't go to sleep or whatever. But if you maintain attain that alpha state, you right there in open communication with the quantum computer in real time.
I'm glad you brought that. The reason I brought this back up is because you're saying when you go beta, alpha, theta, delta, and you should wake up the same way. Everyone, if they're not awakened, as you said, quickly, improperly, everyone can relate. When they start waking up, they start kind of tuning in to the environment of wherever their room is, wherever they sleep. That is the proof of what you're saying. And the same thing goes, and the same thing goes when you're falling asleep. And because I've done this, and you're in between, and all of a sudden it's like you could, this is my experience, it's almost like you feel your, as you said, mind expand, and you feel yourself outside of the window and stuff, floating. Now, I've always been afraid of that, because I was doing that since I was like,
sleep paralysis. Or that happens at that time. You also get sometimes what they call myotonic shock. Like all of a sudden you just jump, or you feel like you fall off or something. You're trying to catch yourself. That's called myotonic shock. That's as you drift off to sleep. It's like your nerves fire off a last shot, and your body jumps up or whatever. But the mind is so quick. The mind already frames it like in a dream where it's like you're falling off or something. That's not happening, but the mind creates worlds. It creates reality. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you gotta be very careful, because when we go through that same journey every single night. It's like that. Once your body goes standby mode, it's almost like a symbolic death. And then you go off into the source. A lot of times you don't remember. It's like a firewall. You don't remember. You see what I'm saying? Because the serotonin got to kick in. See, the serotonin produced by the brain, produced by the pineal gland, it's what keeps you in this world and makes you forget from whence you came and make you think that this is the only world. That's the purpose of it. When we design these avatars, we put into it the serotonin structure, because being that this is a simulation, if you knew it was a simulation, you wouldn't play the game right. So we had to make it so that once you cross over and you come into beta, that the serotonin mechanism kicks in and it makes you forget about where you came from. Because if you knew, you wouldn't play this game.
I was going to say, so it forces you to play out whatever it is your purpose is that you're here for.
Right. It gets you into this world. It makes you think that this is the real world. This is, think about it. If this is the real world, how come you can only stay in here 24 to 72 hours before you got to check out?
That's correct.
These avatars were designed 24 to 72 hours. It has to go in standby mode to recharge, to put all the information in place and all that stuff like that, while you return to the source and just let your avatar do what they got to do. Healing.
Okay. So the real world is while you're on the other side, you're actually creating a different reality.
Yeah, you in the reality.
You're in the reality.
Imagine a world where you create a video game, and then you create an avatar or a character in that video game, and you enter into that character for 24 to 72 hours.
Okay.
And then you turn the game off. You return back to your real world. That's what it's referred to as the plane of soul.
That's what it's like.
That's the plane of soul. That's the realm from which we created this whole simulation. And the purpose of this simulation is what? To learn the knowledge of good and evil, duality.
Oh, now I hear you. You make me lay down in the green pastures of the earth. That's right. And the trials and that's exactly what that.
Look at this universe. Everything is positive and negative, male and female, yin and yang, light and dark. Everything is duality in this thing. That's what we're here to learn, because that tree, when it said, "Don't take of that tree, or the knowledge of good and evil," that tree is what makes you come into these bodies and take on this form and live this life down here. You need of that tree. That's like matriculating into a college. You're here to learn, and you're here to learn the knowledge of good and evil through experience. So through the time, through the ages, we experience the best of human altruism and love and all that good stuff, peace, and then we experience the worst: war, bloodshed, torture, all that stuff. We experienced it. You know, just read about this in the book. When I say we, you say, Hakeem, you know, you alive now. You talking about 1,000 years ago. That's you. There's only one you. Spread
That's
through time.
right.
See, we was taught to measure only ourselves in 3 dimensions, 3D, length, width, and height. In the second course that I taught on Akalia, I taught how to measure how we measure ourselves in 4 dimensions. The 4th dimension is time. And so, if I showed them a picture of a moth, I said, "Here's a moth," and a picture taken, snapshot, or whatever, 3 dimensions, length, width, height. All right, boom. Then I showed a picture of a moth taken with time-lapse photography, spread out, let's say over a minute. And the moth is flying. It makes a diagram. It looks like almost like a symbol, almost like a sigil. And I told him, I said, that's the moth in 4 dimensions. That's the moth. But in 4 dimensions, measured out over time. And so I told him, I said, if you look at yourself, you've been here from the beginning. From the first time we took on these avatars, you was here. All your descendants are in front of you, and all of your ancestors are in back of you. And that's one person. That's one being, measured in 4 dimensions, just like the moth. That's one being. Yeah, but wait, you know, my grandparents died, but, you know, my mother and them are still alive. You know, so how is that me? Or how is that a part of me? I said it's like a relay race. When you run a relay race and you go to pass the baton to the next person, there's a point in time where both of your hands are on the baton. And then the first one lets go, and then the other one continues on. So that point of when you're alive and your parents are alive at the same time, that's the time when both your hands are on the baton.
Wow, that's some deep stuff right there. All right,
and then eventually your parents let go, and you finish the rest of that leg of the race, and then you pass on the baton to your children.
Wow.
That's one being. That's just one person. All that is just one. So you are your ancestors. All your ancestors. Literally.
That's right.
You know, so many things, man, that they, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. But the good thing I did thanks for, I documented everything. Everything is in the first Akalia course is nine video classes. Second one is 9 video classes. And since that time, during this Vision Quest, I taught 60 classes based on the limbic system while on the Vision Quest. And so, you know, that would get into the whole limbic, because that I would say the biggest thing that was revealed to me this particular 4th Vision Quest was the science of the limbic system. That science, if you master the limbic system, you master yourself. You master the simulation right here. That's how powerful it is. You know, in their science, they break the brain into 3 parts. The reptilian brain, the lowest part that deals with your basic survival mechanism, your heart beating. You know, you think about, you don't sit there and tell your heart beat, 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 beat. You don't tell yourself breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. You know, there's programs running that. You're not consciously running those things.
That's right. It's
That's the reptilian. Yeah, and like the spinal column comes up, and it's like a ball at the end. It looks like a serpent standing on its tail. That's the reptilian brain. Then over that, if you put your fist over, if you put your elbow on the table with your fist sticking straight up, your other hand, then that next layer is called the mammalian brain. That's what they refer to as the limbic system, or the emotional brain. And then if you had another hand lay on top of that, they call that the neo-mammalian brain. That's the seat of the higher self. The reptilian brain is the seat of the lower self, and at the top, the neo-mammalian brain, the part that where you have that big part on the forehead that most animals don't have, that's the higher self. That's the seat of the higher self. And all of that's the limbic system. But they just like to say the middle part, or the mammalian, is the limbic system. Really, the whole thing is the limbic system. You know, so, you know, I when I get a chance, I'm going to talk about this, like, so deep. I was like, wow, we don't realize, like, who we are and what we have inside this body, what we could do. I'll give you an example. You could program your body. Like, I taught this when I was teaching about, like, losing weight and health and stuff like that, or whatever. You could, the key thing is reprogramming your limbic system. Your lower self has to be reprogrammed. You can't just jump out there. If you read about a health book and it's talking about health and stuff like, and your conscious mind like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. If you don't convince your subconscious mind and get it on board with that, it's not gonna happen.
That's right.
It's not gonna happen.
You just talking. It's not gonna happen. You're right.
You're gonna do it 3-5 days or whatever, and you're gonna be right back to the same thing. And this is the problem that people keep going through. A lot of things people don't understand about themselves. They don't understand why in this society they're obese or they put on too much weight. It's not a bad thing if you understand what it is, but you got to understand what it is. That goes back to the hunter-gatherer time. Back in them times, it was programmed into our limbic system that if you came across a source of carbs, fat, and so on, you engorged yourself. That was survival. But now, fast forward that to now, the age of fast foods.
Yeah, you're killing yourself.
Man, what? It's crazy. So this is why it's so hard to deal with diet, because it's tied into a survival mechanism. There's things you can't just get rid of. It's like in your computer. And you hold down Control or Delete, and you go to delete a system file, it's going to warn you. It's going to say, this is a system file. If you delete this, your computer's not going to operate right. It may shut down.
That's
and
right.
the same thing with these different things in us, dealing with food and stuff like that, it's tied into survival mechanisms. So you can't just stop it like that. It's going to allow you to, because it already knows that if you do that, it's going to cause other problems. So people got to learn how to work with their lower self, or I call it their lower limbic system. You got to learn how to work with it, because even though it's a poor master, it's a good servant.
Ah, wonderful.
If you let it rule you, you're gonna have problems, because it's reptilian. When they talk about reptilians is not some aliens from another planet. Reptilian is a person who's guided by their lower self, by their reptilian brain. Now, it's nothing wrong with it. It's not evil per se. The problem is that all it cares about is you and your happiness. Screw everybody else. That's where the problem comes in, with the lower self. In other words, it's good in the sense it controls all your basic body functions. It's controlled by the programs that it runs. There's a program for the heart beating, for breathing, for all these things, without which your avatar will die. It won't exist. So these things are good. What you got to do is work out a pact, work out an agreement with the lower self. It's like a child. You can't. If I have a child and every day I pick him up from school, I buy him pizza, and then one day I pick him up, I buy broccoli. He's gonna freak out. Just like your lower limbic system. The lower limbic system is like water. Water seeks its own level. If I put a bowl of water on the table and I shake it up, a minute later it's just gonna settle down, seek its own level, and just be perfectly still. That's how the limbic system is. It likes it that way. They don't like to change things. Once it got something coded, certain behaviors, certain things, it's like don't rock the boat. So you got to be careful. I'm telling you, you got to be, because remember now, it's controlling like 99% of your body systems. It's being controlled by that breathing, this and that, all these different things. Homeostasis, acidity, alkalinity, body temperature. All you don't just think about it. In the course of a day, do you ever think about that? Like, homeostasis and your breathing. No, all that's controlled by these programs, and so you got to work with it. Don't make it your enemy. See, a lot of these diets and stuff, they make like when you go cold turkey and stuff like that, they make your limbic system your enemy, and that's a problem.
Right. Oh, so this is what is meant by knowing the higher self and the lower self.
It's like a ladder. It's all connected. All those brain structures is the seat of the higher self and the lower self, and they're all connected. They all work together. So you can't separate. You can't make one fight against the other. What you got to do is understand the limbic system, and you got to teach it the way you would teach a child. Instead of just one day, instead of buying pizza, just buying broccoli. Start slowly teaching the child, the difference why one may be better than others, and then when the what's called a low limbic system on your side as an ally, as a servant, and it'll serve you. But you got to establish yourself on the throne.
The way, I like the way you said the lower self. It's a terrible master, but a great servant.
It's a beautiful serpent, man. I learned as you go to the Vision Quest, your body gives off a certain chemicals, dopamine, different neurotransmitters, stuff like that, endorphins, kill pain. I learned how to signal and trigger these things myself, like the pain endorphins and stuff like that, because I don't deal with pharmaceuticals and aspirins and stuff like that. When I have pain, what I would do is give into it for a minute and feel it. That will trigger the sensor, and the brain will automatically release the endorphins. So I would feel like 2 more throbs of pain, and it would just disappear. Meaning that we have our own endorphins. All these things are built into us already. We just got to learn how to, through the limbic system, how to work these different things. Dopamine, all these different things are in us for a reason, and we just got to learn. We just got to master our bodies. When you, back in the day, you go buy a VCR, they give you an owner's manual explaining how to use it. When we born into this world, we don't get no owner's manual. We got all this complex technology within this body, and we have no owner's manual. So, the divine has shown me. I think one day what I want to do is put together an owner's manual. They're serious, straight up. If you want to do this, if you want to meditate, you do this. Meditate, do this, and just break it down. As I'm learning it. It's infinite, But
is this why people? Let me ask you this: is this why people actually did and still could live longer than what they do now because they have
no set time? Yeah, there's no set time. That's that. You heard about those mystics that just live for 1,000 years, this, that, and finally they just get tired of seeing the same old cycles and patterns repeat over, and they just leave this world. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's like the ancestors, like, they knew the signs of immortality, but at the same time, oftentimes, they wouldn't take it. They would live a long time and see a lot of cycles, but then I said, well, you get bored of seeing the same things over and over again. You just want to make room. You don't completed this lesson. It's like repeating the 12th grade over and over again. You 12th grade, graduate, go to college, become a master. Why you down here fooling around in 12th grade? You know what I'm saying? So this is just a classroom. It's just a big classroom where we have to perfect our souls through the knowledge of good and evil.
Wow.
All of us. All of us. Yeah,
wow.
We the God.
Well, it's 9, and no, I don't know. I know Sister Anna Edith's there. I don't know if there's any question in the chat room because usually on Wednesdays we don't open up to questions. Do you have some other stuff you want to share first, and then maybe if there is someone?
No, I'm good. Yeah, if it's somebody who has a burning question, I'll just give the 2 websites where they can get the because I'm.
Definitely do that. As a matter of fact, let me see this. You have such a wealth of information and experience and things that you have documented that you do make available. I already heard you mention the secret of secrets.info, reference to your 2011, which is your second vision question.
Right.
You're saying if people go to secrets.info, they can get that
the free book. It's on Amazon, but they want they maybe have to charge $1.99. I just want to make it free, but they, in their program, the minimum you can charge is $1.99. So I said I'm just gonna put it on my website for free. So you go to secret6.info, you can get that book for free. That book, it's not a big book, but it resolves all the questions dealing with what they call quantum physics, all that stuff. All these different questions is in that book. There, it gives a foundation of Athalia, the system that I was shown to create as a result of the second vision quest. So that's secret6.info, and then the other book. I wrote a book on Moringa also, which I need to put up on the wholeearthbotanics.com. You can get the products there right now. I want to put the book back up there and make it available for free again, because when I migrated the service, I had to take it down.
Botanics.com, that's where I went and ordered the Moringa.
And you see how fast it got to you. I think I gave you the tracking like that day or the next day you already had to track it.
Say that again?
I said, you see how fast it got to you. We don't play. We get to you like 7-10 business days. Boom, it's there.
Well, I believe your distributor. I remember when you were down in this area doing some stuff on the New Jersey. And now when I got it, I see what you were doing there.
Yeah, it's moringa. That's all I can say. You see the other stuff on there, the turmeric, which has the curcumin extract. We have saffron. We have Garcinia cambogia, African mango. All these things are just natural fruits and things that are part of nature, which we can use to supply various nutrients because the body could heal anything. It just needs the nutrients.
Well, let me ask you something. I'm looking at 6, 7 things on here. Saffron extract, Garcinia cambogia, turmeric, African mango, moringa, chromate, and colon cleanse. Of course, the colon cleanse is obviously, to cleanse the colon. Now, like all of these things, can one take them? I know you wouldn't just take them all, but they have different reasons.
I'm taking 3 of them. Look over the different benefits and see how it could benefit you. And you could take all of them at the same time or 3 of them. I'm taking 3 of them at right now, the moringa, turmeric, and chromate.
Yeah, I'm looking at this chromate to see. Yeah, go ahead.
It's good. You get energy. It deals with the whole body of metabolism. People who suffer from diabetes, they need the chromium because the chromium is what helps. You know what I'm saying? And, they diagnosed me going way back in, I guess it must have been like 2002. I guess that's like, 15 years ago of having diabetes. And the doctor was like, insulin and this is that, you're going to die, and, that whole spiel. You know what I'm saying? I made my decision. Then I said, I'm not taking insulin once. I'm controlling it with my mind and with myself, not with their stuff. And so the biggest lesson I learned is a lot of these diseases deal with malnutrition, lack of certain nutrients, and it deals with the mind. And once you get those things straight.
Yeah, saffron extract.
Yeah, saffron is one of the most expensive spices in the world because just to produce a small amount, it takes like thousands of flowers and stuff, But it's good for all kinds of stuff, And like I said, I ain't going to go too deep, but I'm telling y'all, read up on it and just see what is beneficial to you because it'll offset a lot of the problems that you're having with your diet. So
what if people don't know what their problems are? All they know is they got some aches and pains. They don't go to the doctor because they don't want to or they don't can't afford it or whatnot.
Yeah, the diagnosis is key. I mean, even if you disagree with doctors, pharmaceutical industry, and you don't know, then you could use them for diagnostic purposes. Just try not to let them get too invasive with it. Well,
I tell you what I found. I found that naturopathic. There's only, they say, 12 so-called certified, and what they do, when you talk about not being invasive, they come and they do it like the old-fashioned way. They prick your finger for blood, put it under a microscope, and then kind of diagnose from there by looking at your blood what's going on with you.
Yeah, that's what I use them for. Same thing. Sometimes they may take a urine sample. You could do a lot of it yourself. You could go to certain pharmacies and purchase the strips and so on and so forth to dunk into your urine, the acidity, or a lot of this you could do yourself. And I would suggest doing it that way because it's like a car. You bring a car to a mechanic, and he know that you don't know. He will charge you anything. You go there and you show him that you know. Then, you get the best deal in town. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, know your body. Don't go to the doctor like you're at the mercy of some doctor. At least that's my philosophy. I really just don't deal with them. I think it's preventative medicine. So I don't even have to deal with you.
Yeah, I agree.
And if I do get something, I try and figure it out myself and put together my nutrient regimen for it. And if I can't do it, then I'll go to you for diagnosis, find out what it was, and then do it myself.
Wow, man, you're right. Everybody should go to this site and look at this because I'm just looking over the saffron, man. It is covering a lot of stuff: depression, asthma, sleeping habits, cancer.
I put it all on there. All the benefits, all the different things that you could use it for.
Yeah.
So just read it over. And when you come across, like, for instance, moringa, one brother took it. I had testimonials up, so I got to put them back up. One brother had high blood pressure, and he started doing the moringa and drinking lots of water, and within that week it went down. regularly. Another sister, she had bad menstrual because I got the actual MP3 testimonials from using their voice, where she had bad menstrual cramps all her life, and she was a teacher, and it got so bad one day, school sent her home. On the way home, she checked her mailbox, and moringa was there. He said she put some of the moringa leaf powder on a teaspoon of ice cream. She took it, and I was telling her before, like, give it a month or whatever. She said the pain went that day for the first time, that day.
Yeah. And you know what? That's interesting, because I'm looking at the menstrual relief, the saffron extract, also dealing with that. And it's funny because it says here that it reduces chronic uterus bleeding. Well, a lot of people, these doctors are diagnosed and they call it endometriosis when they have chronic uterus bleeding. They tell them they can't have children and all that because they have that problem. So
all
you
the
are
stuff can be healed using just spices and stuff. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food.
That's what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right there, the only spices and stuff. I mean, you got so much healing stuff. Another drink I used to make with the apple cider vinegar, I used to sweeten it with maple syrup. Moringa got 46, which is a crazy amount. Maple syrup has over 54. It has chemicals that's found in maple syrup you can't find it nowhere else. And
that would be grade B, though. Grade B or C. Yeah, I take that in what I call. Yeah, they call that some. I forgot what diet they call. I mean, a drink they call it. Usually they have it out. What is it called?
I would give everybody a simple thing you can make. Just simple. You get the Bragg's apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. The mother is that blob in the middle. That's the mother. You don't want to get the refined apple cider vinegar like they show that's just crystal clear.
Okay.
The healing powers is in the blob. Is in the mother. So
that's
you get that Bragg's. And you shake it up, spread that mother out, and then put I'll put like you could put like in a 18 or 20 ounce glass of water, a tablespoon of the of the apple cider vinegar, and an equal proportion of maple syrup, and it's delicious. And it's good for you. It alkalizes your body. It gets your intestinal flora correct. If you suffer from food poisoning, it'll neutralize it. If you get a stomach virus and you throw some apple cider vinegar on top of it, it'll neutralize it. Another good thing is it's a number of little simple things that don't even cost much that will solve so many problems. I'll give you another simple solution: baking soda. But you just got to be careful with it. Don't use the wrong amount. If you ever suffer heartburn, your chest is burning, you got crazy heartburn, you can feel the acid, take a half, these measurements correct because you don't want to do this wrong, a half teaspoon of baking soda to a half cup of water, half to half. You drink that, and I'm talking about like in 3 to 5 minutes, it's gone. You let up a big burp, and that's the alkaline, that's the baking soda come in contact with the acid in your stomach, it lets off a gas. Don't hold it in. Don't hold that burp or fart or whatever. Don't hold it in. Let it out. You don't want to rupture the lining of your stomach. Let it out because that's the interaction. It produces a gas. Let that gas out. So you'll burp a couple of times, and the heartburn is gone. So that's why I don't worry no more about eating. I eat something with tomato sauce, I will get heartburn. Now I don't even worry. I got the remedy ready. A half hour after I eat whatever has the tomato sauce in it, I'm taking the baking soda and water and neutralizing it. Neutralize that acid immediately. Don't let it spread throughout the body.
Right.
Gotcha. Your gut.
Yeah.
Let that gas out. Let that gas out. And if it don't work, a half hour to an hour later, take another half teaspoon to a half a cup. And that's almost bound to knock out any acidity, and you will rapidly alkalinize your whole body just using that baking soda and water.
Wow.
So that's just another tip. I got some more for you. I got some goodies for y'all that's gonna bug y'all out with the mind and everything. So make sure y'all come back because we got some good stuff for y'all.
Well, we're open on this channel on the first Wednesday of the month, and we're trusting that you would come back with some more information.
Definitely. I'd love I love sharing whatever. I'm a researcher and studies. I just love sharing the fruits of my research. One other thing before I hang up is soak. You ever have tired feet or whatever? Soak your feet in some diluted apple cider vinegar. Take some apple cider vinegar, dilute it with half water, and let your feet just soak there for a half hour. Your feet gonna feel like it's in heaven.
Does it
so
also
if you got
clean?
tired feet, huh?
Does it also like pull like they do that and they put copper in it or something and pull out?
Yeah, you could do that too. But the apple cider vinegar, if you just soak your feet in apple cider vinegar, any foot fungus, toenail fungus, any of that stuff, athlete's foot is knocking out the box, and your feet's gonna feel good.
Wow. All right. That's
clean
wonderful.
silver, clean jewelry, apple cider vinegar, and cloth. It will clean any jewelry.
Wow.
Simple stuff. That don't even cost that much. You know what I'm saying? Baking, so brush your teeth. It's just so many simple little things. Pain. If you don't want to deal with aspirin no more, secrete your own endorphins. Just feel it for a minute, and then 2 minutes later you're gonna feel 2 throbs, and the brain's gonna release endorphins and knock it out.
Wow.
And we running around going to all these hospitals and stuff. I'd rather die in my own hands than to die in the doctor's hands with chemotherapy and all that. All they're doing is killing you. They're not just killing the cancer cells; they're killing all your cells.
Right.
Chemotherapy.
Well, then to do that, you think is it true then that they're just practicing and studying and stuff? I mean, how could somebody be so stupid to do something like that?
Yeah, I tell you, if the mind's the first protocol, then why would you tell a person you're going to die in 12 months? What kind of effect will that have on the person's mind? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Think about that. The first protocol is to get the mind working. So right there off the bat, the doctor's already killing the first protocol, telling you you're going to die in 12 months or whatever, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever the case may be. And then want to put you on chemotherapy, which will talk about how they just rapidly deteriorate. Once they start the chemo, they just deteriorate quick. They might not even make it that far from there.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
It's a game. It's a game. It's money. Big money's involved. When all you have to do is just learn about self. They don't teach about the limbic system, how to use your mind. You can basically, if you understand how to work the limbic system, you can cure yourself of anything with just the mind, with nothing else.
That's why it says physician heals ourselves.
All the chemicals, your body's alchemy. Your body is like an alchemist laboratory. When you see those different flasks that they have, shaped like different things, one shaped like the stomach, shaped like a tube, like the intestines, all that is just an outward portrayal of what's in you. You're the alchemist. But we're not told alchemy. We're not told self-alchemy, how to transmute yourself from lead to gold. So anyway, I get into that. Secret of Secrets, I really go deep into that whole aspect dealing with the mind, and then I got the other part of the whole earth mechanics dealing with the physical component, which is very important too. Give the body what it needs. Just give the nutrients that it needs. It'll do the rest. Moringa, if you order anything, order moringa and then build around that. But let moringa be your central core because at least you're getting all the nutrients that the body needs to heal.
Okay.
And then build on that. Say, all right, I'm gonna get this supplement or whatever because it's beneficial for me with this, and just build up like that and build your own little regimen based on the symptoms that you know you have.
Right.
If you didn't get a diagnosis, go to a healthcare Ayurvedic practitioner and get a diagnosis of what's going on with you. They'll tell you, what's your dosha, your fiery dosha, whatever. Oh, one other thing I want to throw out there, because these things are life-saving. Cancer, just one thing I want to throw out there. You could cure cancer with spicy foods and cayenne. Because if you ever notice cancer, it has like a layer of mucus over it, almost like snot. Have you ever noticed that when you eat something very hot, spicy, you start sweating?
Yeah,
that's
snorting,
that's
bringing all that up.
The heat, the heat from it is actually melting down the mucus. And so what happens is that if you have cancer and you eat food like a cayenne pepper, whatever, very spiced ginger that make you sweat, it's dissolving the mucus that's all around the tumor, the cancer cells, and it's the mucus that holds the blood vessels in place to feed the tumor. So what happens is that once you break down the mucus around the tumor, the blood vessels collapse on themselves, and the tumor dies because the blood supply is cut off.
Wow, that's deep. So there is a cure for cancer.
Yeah, the cancer, the mucus is just forming like a lattice, like a structure holding the blood vessels feeding the tumor in place. If you could dissolve and melt down the mucus, the vessels just collapse like balloons on each other, and nothing can pass through it.
Wow.
So, spicy foods, ginger, cayenne, in terms of cancer, you're going to melt down that whole thing. And then you want to get the turmeric and the chromate and the turmeric to stop the spread and metastasizing. So all these things, we could cure and heal all these things. This is why we, as Moors, got to come together and put together our own health protocol and our own health system. You know, grow our own food, pay farmers. I was dealing with farmers directly in Africa, Ghana, Nigeria. And that's what we have to do because, you know, that's the golden trade of the Moors. You know, when I was trading with them in Ghana and Africa, the golden trade. Because it's not just one of their people from their country coming here selling their own stuff. It's somebody born from over here making a deal with them and selling their stuff here. That's the golden trade.
That's the true golden trade, right?
You know, so.
And you use the word trade because we are in merchants. We are the original merchants of the earth.
Yeah, nothing wrong with trade, but as long as when we traded with the world, you know, we knew how to go and learn languages like in 2 weeks. This charge right now, West Africa, where they talk about who could learn any language in 2 weeks. Sheikh Amadou Bamba from Senegal sent out all the members as missionaries as traders. That's why you see all those Senegalese, they set up these little things selling pocketbooks all over the place, even in Europe, all over the place. They were sent out by Sheikh Amadou Bamba, sent out using trade to proselytize. You know, so ain't nothing wrong with it, but we called upon to do something even great right now because right now the world is in turmoil, waiting for the answers that we have.
Yes.
We have the answers they're looking for. It's not going to be Democrats. It's not going to be Republicans. You know, right now, people, we're about to go through a chastisement right now. The prophet talked about it. The prophet said that if our people and the government do what's right, this will be the richest, most prosperous nation in the history of the world. He said, if not, the worst is yet to come. Earthquakes, all these things. We here at the chastisement because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And now all of us, everybody's getting chastised. That's why I'm out here. That's why the Divine Spirit led me here. I never in my wildest dreams thought I was going to come out to Arizona.
Right.
I never in my wildest dreams thought. Over these last 3 years, Sophia taught me everything, survival, everything. Now, I'm at the point now, and the mindset that there's nothing I cannot survive. I don't care what it is. The key thing to surviving what's about to come is your mindset. Storing up food, storing up this, storing up that, that's secondary.
Right, because you don't know what the store is. Yeah.
You don't know where. Shoot, my survival kit might be 30 miles, 50 miles from me. I might have to survive where I stand. I always thought about that. I said, you know, put together your survival kit and stuff like that. That's good, but it may go down, and I may be nowhere near it. Then what?
Right.
You got to be ready to survive. Cash your bucket where you stand and survive where you at. That's why I said a more trustee, not beneficiary, trustee of this trust that we call Earth, knows the environment, the ecosystem that you are in. Because you may have to survive in an ecosystem one day with no Walmart, with no stores to go run and buy food from. So everybody, get your mind straight.
Oh man, that's beautiful, man. This is beautiful. It's already like 9:23, and And like I said, people do not usually, if there's any questions, but I don't know, you've given a lot of information for people to take in. I'm not sure. I think Sister Anna E, she's definitely on the line with the panel, with the control. Did you call in from a 646 or a 916?
646.
Okay, so there is somebody that has a question on a 916.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll take it. If you
because
got time.
they had now. Oh, there's another question. Oh boy, I just mentioned it. Here they come. That's fine. It's all good. No, I got. Okay, that's your note. I got two, and I'm gonna take the 916 because they've been having their hand up.
Faithfully holding out.
Are you there to do the controls or? Now I'll just go ahead and do it here.
I'm here.
All right. Do you see the 916? That's not him. That's someone that wants to. There's two hands up. You want to bring them in?
All righty. Caller 916-599. You're on the air.
Islam. That was a mistake on my phone. Yeah, it shows very interesting.
All right.
Yeah, next. Yield the floor.
All right.
Did you have no questions? Did you have any questions before you go?
No, he said it was a mistake on his phone, but do you have a question? No, he doesn't.
All right.
You don't
you
have
know how to find lawyers sometimes. All right.
Yeah, he said it. He had the one on from the beginning is what he said. All right, go ahead. We got another one.
Peace.
Hold on a moment. And you want me to get the other one, or you got it? I'll get it. I'll close him out.
Sorry, caller 215630. You're on the air.
I don't think you unmuted him. Try it again.
No, he is unmuted. 215630. All righty, let's move on.
There's another one.
Caller 347358. You're on the air.
Peace and love, Islam, family.
Peace.
How are you?
All is well. How you doing?
Fantastic. It's so good hearing you. From
you.
You
have an echo. Turn your radio.
Hold on 1 second, brother. Yeah. Hold on. There's an echo.
There's a definite echo when he came on.
Oh, so maybe you might have to mute and unmute them. One ask the question. Yeah.
Hold on a moment.
No, it's the caller. It's 347. 358.
No, you're still echoing.
Oh.
That got a good echo.
I know why. Hold on a moment. Hakeem. Oh, we've never had echo. And I don't have. Let me see if it's.
All right.
It's still echoing. You're echoing.
I muted my phone. There's still an echo.
Well, I'll tell you what. Take the next call.
All right.
Oh, hold on. All right, there we go.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't hear no echo no more.
Interesting. All right, yeah, okay, here we go. Back to 347358. Caller 347358. You're on the air.
Islam. Robert Royal Dunn L, Northwest Amexem.
Oh.
Good to hear you, my brother. Good to hear you. Thank you, sisters, mothers, for bringing my brother on. Divine Trust Ministry of the New Moors. I need that website to go back up so I can start working on it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna keep you reinitiate the meetings, everything, the classes. I want to do the ministry classes, all stuff like that. But the Divine told me I just got to wait a certain period because certain things got to take place first. So between now and September, the Divine said, just put it together, put everything together. See, because our people, we don't do things until our back is up against the wall.
Yes.
When Trump do what he do, Trump is going to be used as the vehicle of
the
our
catalyst.
chastisement. Yeah, as our chastisement and whipping stick in a sense, And the Divine told me, said, Hakeem, the same ones that don't want to listen to the truth now, after they go through the chastisement and they get their behinds whooped and they get bloodied up, then they're going to be all ears. All you got to do is get ready.
All right.
That's what, huh?
Well, just know that divinely, that it's all established as far as I'm concerned, and it was just the website down. All right, and so make sure you get my number and give me a call.
No doubt, and so everybody know, when I mentioned the first that I went on in 2007 and was instructed to form the Divine Trust, at that time, Brother Robert Dunhill, he was a member. So he goes way back to that time. So, I'm going to be talking more. I'm going to get into that because the philosophy of the Divine Trust is every household a ministry. And so I'm going to show brothers and sisters how to form in their household their own ministry. And then show them how they could do different things with that. Get land, get the land patent. Because on the third vision quest, I went all the way to Minnesota because a brother who had 40 acres was going to give me 20 of that acres to go there to secure the land patent. And, that didn't work out. But I went to Minnesota, and I did what I had to do, and I learned how to form how to create the land patent as a result of that. So it wasn't a total waste. So I'm going to be teaching about that, about the land patent, which is the highest title. And I'm also going to teach about a title that even surpasses that. But that's dependent on us as Moors,
Mm-hmm.
But there's a title that we have that even goes beyond that, even beyond the land patent, which is based on treaty law. So we have something that even goes beyond that or trumps that, no pun intended, all right? So, but everything in due time, So I'm just, when the Divine speaks to me, I hear and obey. If the Divine tell me Hakeem, Timber, or whatever, then I'm not going to argue. It's like we on the battlefield. When you get an order, you don't argue on the battlefield. You hear and obey. Then afterwards, you take that up.
Yes.
I'm a soldier. I'm just hearing and obey. I'm the Divine is calling cadence on me. Left face, right face, left flank march. You know what I'm saying? I'm just hearing and obeying. That's all. You know what I'm saying? It's cadence. It's just cadence. And follow that cadence, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Tune into the cadence, the inner cadence within you, and then you will always be at the right place at the right time. But if the Divine tell you left flank march, you go right, you may go off the precipice. So keep that in mind. Everything is in mind. That's the first protocol. Everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much. And on that whole concept, dealing with that cancer situation and the idea of that mucus formulation, you threw me way back when I read a book way back years ago pertaining to the mucusless diet.
Yep,
and,
that's right.
It's awesome.
You want to cut it out. You want to cut it out.
Yeah.
That ginger helps really break up that mucus. Every time I juice, my foundation juice was carrot and celery. And then to that I used to add ginger root. That ginger root used to burn off any mucus in me. See, a cold, people had the wrong interpretation about a cold. A cold is not a bad thing. A cold is actually a good thing. That's your body trying to throw off all that mucus. So if the less mucus you eat, there's no need for you to have a cold. There's no need for the body to throw it off in the form of a cold. You see what I'm saying? So cold is a good thing. That's your body throwing it off. Aspirins, painkillers, you don't want to take that because that numbs you, and then you don't have no warning signals. It dulls all the sensors, because all throughout your body you got different sensors. So like a car got an O2 sensor, this and that. You got sensors all throughout your body. But now, if my car got an O2 sensor, and I numb the sensor, I can't get no readings. So when you take these painkillers, before you diagnose what's going on, it's like you put on a blindfold. You have no idea what's going on in your body because the painkiller is just masking it, covering it up. So we got to learn how to work with the body. The body could do just really everything, but we got to go through it. The alkalia science is a new science. It's still developing. We still looking for those to come in and help develop it. But we have to evolve it because it's a way of programming. We essentially, as humans, we're programming. We create worlds within worlds. Y'all know about the world that I created, like the Matrix 5, which is what they call a virtual world. But in that virtual world, we got stores, we got movie theaters, everything. It's our nature to create. So we in simulations, creating simulations within simulations within simulations. Wherever we at, we're going to create. We're going to create worlds. That's our nature. All right. So anyway, Secrets, we get more into that. Secrets.info. You got the free book. You got the free video. And then you got courses in there. And that's just scratching the surface. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
That whole foods website, that's what I'm definitely got to get to that. But one question, and one question, and I know this is the same question, even as it deals with our nationality and birthright, as it deals with our health and anything else. And I know you kind of like answered it when you said that well, they tell a patient that you're gonna die in a year. They didn't stepped on the first protocol already. My question is, so is it possible for anyone to take some of this stuff with ultra focus and confidence and still benefit?
You talking about the supplements or the secret of secrets?
Well, yeah, basically like the moringa and you know, all those different things.
Yeah. Because the key thing is that with the moringa and stuff like that, you giving the body to heal itself. You giving the body the nutrients, the tools that it needs. It's just like your car. You know, your car can run beautifully, but if it don't have no gas, don't have no oil or transmission fluid in it, then it's going to break down. You see what I'm saying? But once you put the right nutrients that it needs to operate, it can operate fine. The same thing with the human body. The human body, I'm thoroughly impressed with the human body and the resilience of the how we be dogging it, and it still managed to do its best to work things out. We got to assist it. You know what I'm saying? We got to assist it. We putting it through it. I was like, man, I'm amazed at the body, man. The stuff that we put it through, and it finds ways to work itself out, is incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. The moringa is you giving it the assistance it needs. All the tools is in the toolkit, not to go around. It could go, you know, the body could repair the cells. It got the tools it needs. That's all it needs is the tool. Outside of something, you know, catastrophic happening, you know, a rock falling off the roof, hitting you in the head or something crazy, you know, the body is designed to heal itself. It's designed to medicate itself. It's designed to kill pain. All those things itself. But when you rely on all these things outside of yourself, you short-circuit those powers within yourself. That's the problem.
Yes. Well, you know, one of the major catastrophic events that take place with our folk nowadays is the medical operations that they go through.
It's the whole pharmaceutical industry, man. It's an industry. It's an industry. They're not designed to heal you. They'll be out of business. They want something that you got to take 3 times a day for the rest of your life. That keeps them in business. And the research funds and grants that they get and all that sort of that, it's an industry. It's not designed to heal you and help you and make you feel better. Nature does that. Nature has all that. Wherever it is, an illness, right next to it is the cure. Like when I'm in the woods, when I used to be in the woods in the Northeast, right next to where the poison ivy grows, you always find a jewelweed bush. And the poison ivy affect you, you just go right next to the jewelweed, squeeze the leaves and the juices and just stick it right on there, the irritated spot. So that just shows you that wherever there's an illness or ailment, the cure is right there. It was possibly once that I would walk into and I would see certain plants that for the heart or respiratory, that let me know what the people in that neighborhood are suffering from, just by looking at the plants that's growing there. So I just knew that, oh man, there must be a lot of heart problems and this and that in this neighborhood based on the plants. You there? Peace. Oh.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
I thought.
we got
All right, peace. I thought my battery went dead. All right, peace.
Yeah.
More.
All right.
Thank you. Peace. Islam. Thank you all.
Peace.
All right.
Love to you all.
All right. Peace and love.
Caller 972-839, you're on the air.
Islam. I am Abdul Malisha Bey. I'm calling from Northwest Amexem from Texas Territory. Islam family once again. Nadia, I am Raz, and you know me. To the young man, he is very knowledgeable in herbs, and he has been doing his study.
And you think I'm young? How old you think I am? People think I'm young. I'm 53 years old, got 2 grandchildren. People think I'm like 30-something years old or something. I guess because of my voice or something. But
I can say that because I'm 63.
All right. So you've been there, done that, right?
Very understandable. Very understandable. You're very knowledgeable, and at this particular time, because there's so many fast food restaurants and other foods that are advertising on television, they're giving you these I call them sheets of notes and dedication for you to come to them and put some more calories, fats, and acids into your body system.
Yep.
I was just thinking, once we go on these diets and we learn what you're saying, and I'll get in touch with Rod, and then I know how to contact you and go on your webline and get some of your booklets, because I am very amped and I'm able and capable. It reminded me, and that will, if we follow through with all the natural herbs and things that Allah has put forth for us for the healing of the nation, it will be unchangeable and invariable, and it's never changing, because we change our structure in our bodies by applying the fatty acids and the blood of these animals off into it. Coconut water also is good for the electrolytes. Oregano, sea salt. We place those salts that has acid and chemicals in there, which being processed through a manufacturer. You're going to use oregano, sea salt, parsley, and thyme. And I find it very interesting, and it gives me energy. Also, the raw blue agave, and it's really good instead of using that sugar. And we know what that sugar does. It leads to all kinds of eruption of the body functions. But I was asking, what would you? I heard someone tell me something, and I want to hear from you, because you seem that you have knowledge upon the herbs and different types of vegetation that the body needs. One that has a problem with vision, what would you recommend one would take? And I'm going to get off the line and hear your comment. Islam.
Good question. That's a very good one. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent question. For one, the moringa, in terms of the vitamin A content, it has, I think, 8 or 10 times the vitamin A of carrots, pound for pound, or the vitamin A of carrots. And so that right there, but then you got carrots, vitamin A, and stuff like that. But like I said, the moringa, the beautiful thing about the moringa is that when you take it every day, you cover it. Whatever holes or gaps in your nutrition is going to fill it.
Wow. All right.
And you feel that way psychologically. I mean, literally, like when I was thinking, it's just this feeling of contentment, of completeness. Like like you're not lacking anything. And we really feel that way because we really do lack anything. You know what I'm saying? Most, believe it or not, in spite of all the fast food and all the gluttony and obesity here in the United States, right, over 50% is malnourished. So they're just really getting a lot of carbs and stuff like that. They're not getting nutrients. They're not getting phytonutrients produced by the sun in these plants through the chlorophyll mechanisms and so on and so forth. So malnourishment is an issue even here in America. And so people really have that feeling of contentment from around with chips on their shoulder. They stressed out, and they don't know why, but that's just how they feel. That's how they are. A lot of it is because they don't have the right nutrients. You know, so I would start right there. Get your nutrients in there. It's tried, true, and tested by our ancestors for thousands and thousands of years. It's not something like it's new. You know what I'm saying? They use it. It's buried with the fowls. There's nothing spooky about it. It's there. Yes.
So it's really nutrients because I'm glad he brought that up because I do know a couple of people are having those problems, and I mean I'm sure others know many, but that seems to happen, and they want to do operations on their eyes. Some have glaucoma. What's that other thing they have? They say that's from mucus and stuff. That those cataracts. That they collect.
So all these things, that's why I said the mind was really, like, take for instance DNA. They make you think that what you're born with, you stuck with for the rest of your life. They don't teach you that you manipulate your DNA. Your DNA changes and transforms throughout your life. And you could tap in to change that. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no limit to what you could do, especially with your own body, with your mind. From secreting chemicals, hormones, biochemicals. You got a laboratory there of which most have no inkling about or how to even operate. It's like entering to a scientist's laboratory and you see all these instruments and you don't have an idea what they're used for. That's what we got in us. We got laboratory in us. We could produce chemicals. We could put them together. We got sensors. That's why, the reason why I said the lower self, the lower limbic system, which has sensors all throughout the body to regulate temperature, this and that, is a good servant but a poor master, is because it can be tricked. It could be tricked via those same sensors. I'll give you an example. If you're depressed, and I tell you, just smile for the next 30 minutes, just smile. Even if you're not feeling like smiling, just make your muscles, make your mouth muscles, make that gesture. In those muscles are sensors. And those sensors are telling the brain that he's smiling. According to the database in the hippocampus, whenever he smiles, whenever those muscles make that gesture, he's supposed to be happy. But wait, our sensors in the blood saying we don't sense the dopamine and the chemicals necessary for him to be smiling like that. So let us secrete that. And do you know that same person who was depressed, just from making that gesture, just from tricking the lower limbic system via the sensors, now the person is happy.
Wow. Yeah.
That's why it's a good servant. A poor master, but a good servant is because it could be tricked. You just got to know how to trick. You got to know how to trick it. You got to know how to trigger those sensors. You know what I'm saying? So it could do what you want it to do. That's why I say we need a manual. You could be doing easily. You could write a program just by pressing a part of your body over and over again and associating it with certain things as it goes to the database. And you have a program. Now every time you press that part of your body, XYZ is going to happen. You could your body's like MIDI, like what they call in music world MIDI. It's programmable. Totally programmable. Every square inch of it is programmable. You could associate a program with any part of your body. It could be your kneecap. The main thing is you have to encode that program. But I digress. All that secret stuff. Anyone who wants to go deep into that, intermediate course, and then I taught advanced classes but I'm gonna do it eventually. Do an official advanced class, But as of now, we have those courses and some other things.
All right. Well, let me see. Well, I'm going to ask you one last question, but before I do, Sister Eddie, do you want to try the 215 again? I think they got caught up in the echo problem, and that would be I think all the rest of them are done. Try that one, and if they're not there, then we'll just close out.
215630, you're on the air.
No, they're not there. All right, because they had their hand up.
All right.
No, they're not.
All right.
Now, there's another thing that a lot of people don't know, may not know, that you are versed in as well, just briefly, and that is astrologics.
Yeah, astrologics.
Yes.
Well, see, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't know why, because it may cause some confusion or whatever, but since the last 2 lectures that I did on the whole issue of the flat Earth, that's a whole nother one that we got to do. Y'all got to hear this one.
Yeah, we do. Are you saying that the Earth is flat?
Hey, I'm not going to say that. I said, with regards to that topic, and I don't even want to open up that can of worms right now while I'm about to close out.
All right.
We'll open up that can of worms one day because y'all guys want to be surprised that the nature of the very earth that you walk on is not what you think, and that our ancestors knew it. Mm-hmm. So we'll save that for another discussion. Y'all going to be surprised when y'all hear that one. So in light of that, astrology or astrologics take on a whole nother aspect, which I love to speak about, explore, and it's for further research. So we'll definitely talk about what exactly is the planets. What are they? Are they terra firma? Are they something are they terra firma? Are they something that could be landed on, or are they plasma orbs? And I'm just going to leave that at that for a minute, and I'll go deeper into that.
Say that second word again slowly. Are they what?
Are they plasma or plasmic orbs? ORBS. Up to now, we were taught that they like terra firma, like they like rocks that could be landed on. We're going to see that that's one of the things that's not true. And when I show y'all, when I speak about all the lies, the next question is, why are they lying? We're going to get into that.
We're going to do that one. Yeah, I'm going to be there for that. We're going to do that together.
Yeah, you are like it, especially anybody who's knowledgeable of astrologics or who's into astrologics. So anyone, it's going to make you see that even in a new light. It's not going to disavow it, but it's going to strengthen it from a direction that's unexpected. You know what I'm saying? I mean, put it this way. People don't know the nature of the planet they walk on and the so-called universe they said to exist in. They don't know. Put it this way. The movie Truman Show is more closer to the truth than their physics.
What? Say that movie again?
The movie Truman Show.
Okay, I got to check that one.
Oh, check it out. Check it out. The movie Truman Show was supposedly is comedic or whatever the case may be. That's closer to the truth than NASA.
And that's Truma, Truma.
Yeah, like Harry S. Truman, the Truman Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Okay, all right, I'm gonna check that out.
And so just to show you how crazy things is, and how the degree to which we've been deceived. Imagine being deceived to the point where we don't understand or we don't know what we're walking on every day. And then to top it all off, I'm gonna show you how the Moors is interconnected with the whole flat Earth thing. I'm gonna show you the actual connection. Y'all gonna be surprised. That's all I can say.
All right, we'll save that one for another one. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely say that one. So
I'm gonna check it. Huh?
I said, I got some goodies for y'all. You know what I'm saying? All these vision questions wasn't in vain. You know, the stuff been given to me, and I'm just empty. I'm always empty. I'm always anxious to empty my cup so I can fill it up again.
My cup runs over, right?
Exactly. So I'm looking to release this load, get the next, catch the next.
So this is more like the valley, as they say. Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. I know.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. All right. Well, wow. Thank you so much. So if you want to throw out again, I know it's the secretsofsecrets.info and wholeearthbotanics.com is where you can get and look at all of these different substances.
And if you want to sell any of this stuff too, you can go to 1000streams.com.
You still have that? You have 1000streams.com? Okay.
Yep, 1-000, the actual number 1000, the actual number 1000, and then streams like river, 1000streams.com, and there you could sign up as an affiliate. You know, for the different things that, you know, economic things that we'll be doing and things of that nature. So we've got that going on too.
So there's more stuff on 1000streams.com.
1000 Stream is like a catch-all. Matter of fact, 1000 Stream is like the umbrella. What I did is took all 8 of my websites and consolidated them into one under the umbrella, or under the umbrella of 1000 Streams. If y'all want to see some of the, I got to send you the link for that. I created various lines of shirts. One of the lines is called Moor gear, and that beautiful images on shirts. Also have another one if y'all ever want to check it out. Y'all see when I go to Secret of Secrets, it's called Sigil gear. Remember I talked about sigils, and these are shirts that contain universal sigils. So with these shirts, you could write any program yourself once you know how, and apply it to that shirt. Every time somebody looks at that shirt and sees that sigil, they're running your program. That's why these companies have logos. Those are really, really sigils. So every time you look at their logo or sigil, you running their program.
Right. You know what? Some people get close to sigils without realizing it when they start doodling. You know, some people who doodle and it comes up with something that's really amazing looking, they don't even know what they put into it. And you got to know what you put into it.
Sigil gear. On the sigilgear.com, look at those shirts. Sophia herself guided me to come up with those shirts. Look very carefully at them. All those shirts have the universal sigil embedded in it.
Wow,
so very look at it. Subtly, that, you know, only if you're really looking at it. Person see me, I wear the sigil gear shirts every day, 7 days a week, a different one every day. When people see it, you should see their reaction. They're drawn to it. They don't even consciously know why. Subconsciously, when they see that sigil, they know every program ever applied to that sigil. Subconsciously, the subconscious mind, because there's only one subconscious mind. Each one of us have our own individual conscious ego mind, but we don't each have our own individual subconscious mind. There's only one subconscious mind. We all partake in it. We just partake in it. It's like the internet. When you log into the internet, you're not logging into your own personal private internet. You're logging into an internet that already exists, whether you're there or not, and there's millions of other people. That's how the subconscious mind is. It's one big internet, and we just log in. We just partake in it.
Wow.
So if I create a sigil over here based on XYZ, since there's only one subconscious mind, everybody already knows about it subconsciously. There's only one subconscious mind.
Right. I got you.
Wow. So let's ask what they said, Hakeem, if I write a program, i.e. a sigil, and I embed certain things, how would the general public, if they look at that, how would they know that? I told them, consciously they don't. Consciously. Subconsciously, they know exactly what that thing is programmed with. That's why I call the sigil gear clothing is actually programmable clothing. It's programmable. You could program it. Put your programs into the shirt, the sigil that's in the shirt, and every time you wear it and somebody sees it, they're running your program. It's the world's first programmable clothing. Programmable.
Sigil where? Is it Sigil?
Sigil Gear.
SigilGear.com. All right. Any other?
I love those shirts. These are the things. I introduce everybody to everything step by step. I'm just, like I said, all I do, Sophia, it's like a love affair with Sophia. I'm a philosopher. Philos, Sophia, lover of Sophia. You know what I'm saying? And so, based on our relationship, each one of us has to learn and cultivate our inner Sophia. It's a relationship between the conscious mind, subconscious mind. It's a relationship. And the better you cultivate it, the quicker you will evolve and finish with this classroom and be able to do anything that you want, basically. Because Sophia controls. That's the operating system of this whole universe, this whole simulation. Sophia is the operating system. That's why when I went to the Adam Chamber and they told me, they said, who's that first chapter of the Holy Crown of Moorish Science Temple, class, all that stuff like that?
Yes.
Tell me who's speaking in that first chapter. It's not the prophet.
No.
The speaker says their name or who they are. So look that over.
I'm going to look that over. And also, and let the solar stations be your guide. How about that?
That's it. That same chapter. That very same chapter. All right?
Yeah.
Who is speaking? They say their name. They say exactly who they are. Told them that they freaked out. They was like, how you know? How you know? I said they say their name right there.
Wait a minute. Wow, I don't have my my setup to pull that up, but I think I got it right here. Let me see. Let's share this with the people. Let's share this with you. I know it got to be mother. I know that.
Where to hear ye? Read the hear ye. Protoplasm.
Say that again.
Like that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right. Give me a second. All right. That's a beautiful, beautiful chapter too. Okay. Hear now, ye cherubim, you seraphim, ye angels, and you men. Hear now, O protoplasm, and earth, and plant, and beast. Hear now, ye creeping things of earth, you fish that swim, you birds that fly. Hear now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders, and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now, ye spirits of the fire of water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. I got it. For wisdom speaks.
Who speaks?
The mother.
Sophia.
Thank you.
Right there, the very first chapter. And she's telling me,
yes.
Hear ye protoplasm, hear you everything. I control you. She's saying, here, listen to me. So if you know how to write your programs and submit them to Sophia, she's going to run them. She's going to say, hear ye protoplasm, hear ye. Carry this out.
That's raw, man. Deep, man. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna go win. Can the devil fool us? No, not nowadays.
Wow, that's deep. Wow, we thank you so much. And
Sophia,
definitely
right there from the beginning.
Right there.
I love
right
it.
There.
Yeah, I love it. She said her name. She said wisdom speaks. She said her name straight up. It's not the prophet. It's not. Wisdom speaks. Sophia. And she's shown that if you command me, I'll command everything else. Protoplasm, this, that, wind, fire, whatever.
Exactly. Wonderful.
So I definitely look forward. Like I said, I got a lot more jewels.
All right. Well, we look forward to you sharing them with us and taking this time out. And like I said, first Wednesdays is the open door for sharing for certain.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right.
Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody enjoyed the information. Wow, that's heavy right there. Wisdom, Sophia. All right. So we thank you. Yeah.
We should call that the program that Wisdom Speaks or Sophia Speaks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that's who's speaking.
Wisdom, not kingdom. Wisdom.
Wisdom. I mean, we got to be what's real is real. You know what I'm saying? I call it as it is. The conscious ego mind, binary computer, primarily masculine. Quantum, subconscious mind, primarily feminine. That's just what it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to make no lies or whatever. I'm just going to call it a spade.
Islam.
You know, so we got to give props where props do. If it's wisdom, if it's feminine speaking or what, give her the props. Only if you are insecure, you will not give credit where credit's due.
Wow.
You know, so that's that.
Well, we loving it. We loving what you're sharing with us. Yes, we could go into that, but we thank you. We thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you again. And I'm sure the audience looks forward to hearing from you again as well. And I'll be talking to you real soon.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward.
I think I'm gonna order the saffron now.
Yeah, that's what I said. Read through it because you'll see, as a person reads through those different benefits and different things that it deals with, you'll know. And you know that, you're getting it from a safe source that has met all the standards and stuff like that. So, even crazy stuff happens. Somebody put stuff in castles in their garage somewhere. They're backing up
exactly.
Somewhere.
That's what I was asking, Be very careful and also be very and also
sneezing on it, coughing on it,
And it's also important, like you said earlier, this is not like you said, we're the ones who have the answer. The answer to the problems is already what Moors already know, and like you said, programmed. Be very careful not to allow to go to Walmart and definitely not to those who advertise as being drugstores, like you said earlier, the CVSs and all them, to buy these types of supplements because they're only going to try commercialize it and
put together your own regimen because you supposed to know yourself best. But what's the first edict? You see on all the lentils and commit. Know thyself. Know thyself. Right. So at the end of the day, you know what's best for yourself because you know what's going on with yourself. You might try and describe it to a doctor or whatever it may be, but at the end of the day, you know what's your problem.
Oh, let me ask you one last thing, because there's a special thing. You've got you can have infections and things, and you can also have viral. What is the main difference between a viral infection and a bacterial infection? Or
viral,
is there?
I mean, yeah, they all like the viral. They're all like living organisms, But the viral is like a living organism. Viruses spread. It could be transmitted to somebody else, and then start to grow and spread inside them. You see what I'm saying? With bacterial, you might have an open wound or cut or something, some type of bacteria, dirty sink or bathroom or whatever the case may be, and then get a bacterial infection like that. But usually, bacterial infections are usually not transmittable in the usual transmittable way, like sneezing on somebody or coughing on somebody, stuff like that. So that's what I want to mention too. That I also put in the video. If you search YouTube under all things Moringa, you will see the video that I produced. That's about a half hour long, based on the book. So you'll see in there I mentioned that Johns Hopkins School of Medicine did a research paper. Everybody heard of Johns Hopkins. They did a research paper on Moringa. Yeah, and in their own paper, I got the paper up there and everything. They say that Moringa is anti-cancer, antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial. This is John Hopkins saying. This is not me saying it. All right, that's just to give you an idea. They said a lot more things in the report, but I just want to stress that what is viral, bacterial, fungal, cancer, moringa knocks it out. According to John Hopkins School of Medicine. All right, so this is real. This ain't no rinky dink play stuff. This is real. Dr. Oz, I also had on the website the video that Dr. Oz did on moringa. That made it mainstream for a lot of Asiatics, especially older Asiatics. And then also I've had the Discovery Channel did a documentary on moringa. It was out there. I mean, it's like I said, like the best kept secret. People know about it, and a lot of people don't know about it. Oh, one other thing, the seed kernels of the moringa plant, that's why I said it's the ultimate survival food. The seed kernels of the moringa plant has the ability to purify water. I show in the book, somebody took some swamp water, it was all brown and dirty, put it in a bottle, and somebody took the moringa seed kernel. One seed kernel purifies 1 liter of water. Put it in there, it was crystal clear. Yeah, straight. So you have I mentioned in there you have a nation in South America that's using moringa as their water treatment.
Real plant.
So you can survive. I mean, yeah, you could plant the seeds, you could eat the seeds, you could purify water with the seeds, live off the leaves. It's the tree of life.
It's the tree of life. Wow. 12 manner of fruit.
Tree of life. 12 manner of fruit. Tree of life, and it's real. We have, it grows wild. Wherever we at, it grows wild. Wow. You don't have to cultivate it. You ain't got to plant it. And in the Philippines, it grows wild. They call it malunggay. You know what malunggay means? Malunggay means mother's friend.
Mother's what?
That's what. Mother's friend.
Wow.
That means that women, when you're pregnant, you don't take the moringa. But after you're pregnant and you want to nourish the breast milk and nourish the child through the breast milk, that's why they call it malunggay.
Well, why is it that you don't take it when you're pregnant? It's too strong, or?
Yeah, it could be abortive. It has chemicals and stuff like that, but it could be abortive or lead to abortion. So you want to take it before you're pregnant and after you're pregnant, but not during while you're pregnant. Children, you want to give your children crazy amounts of moringa. Put in their oatmeal, but they'll be strong and thriving. Give them as much moringa as you want, or they could stand or whatever, And it was one other thing I wanted to mention real quick while I was on it. One doctor, it was so useful in the Philippines. One doctor using it for diabetes that he planted 1,000 moringa trees all around the hospital.
Whoa!
And that was, remember the boxer from Philippines, what's his name, Pacquiao? That was his secret. Was moringa.
Wow.
That was the secret of his strength, was the moringa. That's why he blew up. Pacquiao this, or whatever. It was the moringa. That's why. What's his name? Mayweather accused him of being on steroids. That's how powerful the moringa was. That Mayweather accused him of being on steroids. He was moringa. He was on moringa. Malunggay, You mention that to the Philippines, they'd be like, yeah, that goes in my backyard in the Philippines. It just grows wild.
Malunggay. Yeah, you want malunggay.
Ask them in Jamaica, Caribbean, they'll tell you plants growing in our backyard. Wherever we at, the tree of life is like right there.
So that's why you said, like, where the weather is warm, it's all year round, no problem, plentiful. But if I want to blend some, I would have to put it in a pot, bring it inside during the cold weather.
Yeah, I got some seeds, but they back up north in Jersey. I don't have them here with me, but I could get some more seeds. But yeah, you want to get the seeds, and you could crack some of them and eat the kernel inside. It's kind of bitter. But men swear by it. Like them old men up there in the Bronx,
Natural
They used to buy the
Viagra.
moringa from me. Oh man, they'd be like, I got my mojo working again. They used to be so happy.
Wow.
They got I'm talking about the seed, the plant. They got my mojo working. They loved it.
Uh-oh.
You know?
Uh-oh.
So it's good for
Wow.
for men, women, children, you name it. You can't go wrong. It's totally, it's like almost impossible. I don't care how much you eat. You have to eat your own body weight in moringa, and you probably still won't have no toxic effect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Well,
totally.
I'm gonna order some more for somebody that I know who needs it for their problems they're having, especially with the eyes thing. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I'm waiting for it too. You know, I'm waiting for my next batch to come. I can't wait for it to come. It should be coming in the next couple of days or whatever. But when you don't take it, you feel the difference. That's how you know. The day you miss a couple of days, you could feel the difference. Especially if you've been taking it for like a month and you miss a day or two, you'd be like, wow.
Yeah, you're saying about 4 weeks is when it really goes into if you start taking it in 4 weeks.
Usually it's less. I'm just being conservative by saying 4 weeks because remember I told you what happened with the other sister with severe menstrual cramps. I'm telling her 4 weeks. She took it that one time, that one day, her menstrual cramps were gone.
Right.
So I just to be on the safe side, I have to say 1 month. Yeah.
But yeah, because like it says to take, I think 2 capsules twice a day, or is it 1 capsule, or 2 capsules a day?
You could do. I would take as much as you could tolerate, or afford, or tolerate, or whatever the case may be, because there's no, you can't overdose on it or nothing like that. So you just get benefits. You're not getting no losses. So the more you take, the more you're going to benefit. Basically.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. Does it help with, does it also have vitamin C in it? Because we know vitamin C fights viruses also, so this must be packed with that as well.
Yeah, it has powerful, weight by weight. It has the leaves. The leaves have half the vitamin C of oranges, which is very high in vitamin C. That's the leaf. That's the dried leaf. Because in the drying process, it loses some of the vitamin C. But it's like the raw leaf or the raw pods and stuff like crazy vitamin C, like 5 times as much vitamin C as oranges. But some of the vitamin C is gone because in the drying process, it loses some of the vitamin C. But it's still you still got half of the vitamin C of oranges, pound for pound. And pound for pound, it has 4 times more protein than beef. Here's a green leaf. That blew my mind. I'm like, how does a green leaf have 4 times more protein than beef?
Right. So now people can definitely stop eating that beef. If they think they're eating it for protein, they can take the moringa. Exactly.
Pound for pound, you get 4, because you hear people talk about hemp seed and all. Moringa has more protein than them. So pound for pound, the moringa leaf has 4 times more protein than beef. It has 17 times more calcium than spinach. So those of you who are vegetarian, who don't drink milk and worry about the calcium, moringa has 17 times more calcium than spinach.
Wow.
8 times more protein than yogurt. It has, what else? I think it's 17 times more potassium than bananas.
Wow.
Crazy. 46 antioxidants. It's just a powerhouse. You can't go wrong. Everybody's talking about, even Dr. Sebi. Look up Dr. Sebi. Now, you know how Dr. Sebi, he be coming down on a lot of stuff. Dr. Sebi swears by moringa. Just type in YouTube, Dr. Sebi and moringa, and hear what he says about moringa.
All right.
All right, so this is real. This is some real stuff. All right, y'all? Get that moringa. Get it in your system. All right, since the Roz already work on it, so you guys,
yes, I get it.
You're gonna feel it. Like I said, take as much as you want. There's no limit. You can follow those directions on the bottle. You could double that amount, triple that amount, and you won't have no negative side effects. Not like
well, you know what happened? I've only been doing it for not even 7 days yet. One film yet. But I took 1. And then I realized, wait a minute, it says take 2, and it's enough. It's enough 1 bottle then for a month. And I said, all right.
Yeah.
So I started taking it the past 2 days, and I really, really do feel the difference. I really do.
I think it has a especially powerful effect on sisters, being that, it's a tree, it's a plant coming from the earth. And I think all these different types of natural remedies is what sisters need to regulate their body, regulate their hormones, all that stuff. The natural stuff does wonders. You know what I'm saying? It's when sisters get with that pharmaceutical stuff, it throws your whole system off. Your hormones, everything gets thrown off, and then you end up taking this medicine because of the symptoms that this one produced. They want to put you on this to deal with those symptoms, those side effects. And then
that's bad.
Yeah, you got a whole cabinet full of pills you got to take every day. It's like crazy. I hear them commercials. You hear them commercials and they start reading the side effects. I say, yo, that's worse than the thing that it's supposed to cure. Suicidal thoughts, this and that. I'm like, yo, they crazy. They're crazy, yo. They talking about stuff.
But wait a minute. Who's crazier? Anybody who would take that when it says that it has all those
I know. I hear. I say, wait a minute. This is foolishness. They talking about something like you got acne, and you taking something that's talking about the side effects, possible death, possible suicidal thoughts, this, that. I'm like, give me the acne. I walk around looking like pothole face before I take all that stuff. They are crazy.
I'm looking at the moringa. It nourishes the skin. I say that too. But yeah, man, that's crazy though. Who's crazier? Person who's gonna take stuff?
I put my whole household on moringa. I'm taking moringa. The queen is taking moringa. The children is taking moringa. The sun, moon, and stars. Everybody's taking moringa. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Sun, moon, and stars. All right.
Yes. All right, we don't want it to end, but it's time to go, and it's been wonderful, and we will be hearing from you again. Peace and love to you and the family.
Thank
Islam.
you. Peace.
All right.
Islam.
All right.